This is Cerebral Cinema. Movies of the Mind.
The National Broadcasting Company presents The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective.
Sam Spade, Detective Agency?
Me, sweetheart.
Sam! You know you're on all the papers.
Don't think I'm happy about it.
You were standing on the sidewalk pointing,
Mhm.
and there's a dotted line running from you to X where they found the body.
You mean where they found the last body, F? There were several before it.
I know. All those poor people.
Tell me, Effie, how many dots were there running from me to where they found the body?
Oh, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 6, 12, Sam.
That's what I expected.
What does it stand for?
For 1, 2, 3, 6, 12. Death, F.
Oh, no, not really.
But definitely. We just got in on the big finish. This is a tale of deceit and intrigue, F, strung through many islands and several countries. Yea, through a great many lives. So I am left with no choice but to call it The String of Death Caper. For NBC, William Spear, radio's outstanding producer-director of mystery and crime drama, brings you the greatest private detective of them all in The Adventures of Sam Spade. Effie!
Sam.
Don't shout!
How are you, Sam?
Oh, I'm all right, I guess.
Oh, let me look at you.
Yeah.
Sam, you need a rest. You've been staying up too many nights.
And going around with the wrong people. You don't have to tell me.
Well,
I have only this to say. If the people I've been going around with lately won't be going around anymore, so don't worry about me.
all right, Sam, if you say so. But you look so terrible. Your eyes are bloodshot,
Aren't everybody?
and your hands are shaking.
True, Effie, and here's why. Take it down. You ready?
Well, don't make it too gory, Sam.
Effie, I am not going to pull any punches. You'll have to take it as it came, the way I did. Date, fill it in. To Lieutenant I.C. Kelsey, Homicide Detail, San Francisco Police, from Samuel Spade, license number 1375596. Subject, The String of Death Caper. Dear Kelsey, it's hard to believe that the events of the past 48 hours all began with the discovery of the oyster, but they did, and they made a marked change in the census figures of several countries. The whole thing was incredible. The most incredible part of it was that I was careless enough to let myself get mixed up in it. The entire seamy saga began 2 days ago when my door opened and a woman walked in. Showgirl, type 7B, light black skirt, too tight blouse, red alligator shoes, hair overdone in somebody's peroxide oven, you know, that kind of stuff. She chewed gum, of course, and swung a black patent leather handbag. And her charm bracelet was so loaded, I wondered if she could lift her arm.
Let's face it, I'm stranded.
Really? Where?
Where'd you think? Here, right in this town.
Oh, my sympathies. Won't you sit down?
Thanks. You're a gentleman.
Not even so.
The next time I take a job somewhere, I'm going to carry a ticket back to where I came from and a 6-day supply of K-rations.
Well, would you care to tell me about it?
I was doing an act at Brigade Paris when the blow fell.
Yeah?
I had a big floor show trying to boost business, but it didn't boost. It busted.
Oh.
The place was padlocked. Likewise, the owner's pocketbook. We were out 2 weeks' salary.
We?
I was the Olga half of the dance team of Ricardo and Olga.
And then?
Ricardo, the creep, must have been tipped off, because the night we closed, at the end of his first number, he danced off the floor, out through the stage entrance, and was never heard from again.
Well, I always say we're better off without those kind of people around anyway.
Not when he buffaloes out with all your savings.
I hate him already.
Well, I sent a wire to my booking agent for help, and his answer came back something like this.
Hmm?
Here, they're starving in the street. At least you got a hotel room to do it in.
Pardon?
Well,
Oh, those agents are a shifty lot. They only like you when you're with.
you're telling me. My rent's up at the end of the week, and after that, who knows?
Well, now, madam, your story has touched me very deeply. Would it spoil your timing any if I asked you why you came to see me?
Hey, you know, you got a style there. It's unique.
It's widely copied.
Now, don't flash too much of that repartee and make me forget what I came here for.
Just unburden yourself, Olga. No more repartee.
The name's Kelly. Kelly Green.
Oh.
I wouldn't be seen on the street as Olga.
Pardon, my mistake.
Yeah. I came to ask you to find a guy named Captain Eric Nostrum. He's somewhere in San Francisco.
An army man?
He bought that title in a saloon in Tahiti. He's a beachcomber. Tell him Kelly's got some information she wants to sell.
Mm-hmm.
You can reach me at the Embassy Hotel, 627. See you later, Sam.
Just a minute, Kelly.
Yeah?
I hate to mention this to someone in your position, but there's a fee for my services.
Oh, they'll pay you. The kind of information I got he wants real bad. Well, ta-ta.
Clearing everything off my desk, 2 shoes with feet in them, mine, I embarked on this dangerous assignment, if Brian Donlevy will pardon the expression. You know, I am not without sources of waterfront information, and in a couple of hours I found myself in a bistro called the Backwash, a place that hangs so precariously on the west bank of a bay that flies come to study it.
Hello, Sammy. How are you?
Hello, Eddie. What's a good word?
Well, Sammy, I know what I hear, but what I hear sometimes ain't the truth, or am I too quick for you?
Give me a for instance.
Well, the guy you called about is sitting down at the far end of this very same bar. At least he calls himself Captain Eric Nostrum. This is what I hear from my side of the bar. But whether he is or not what he says he is only something that can be verified by investigation. Or am I too quick for you?
I'll have another pint of beer, bartender.
Let me buy.
Sure. You can find me drinks all night.
But don't make the mistake of trying to get me drunk.
Make it 2, will you, Eddie?
Hi, Sam. Sam. That means he knows you. You're okay by the house. Well, then you're okay by Captain Nostrum. There you are, 2 beers. What's the rest of it, Sam?
Spade. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you something about you, Sam Spade. You didn't come here to drink with me. You came to talk. Shall we go over in a booth?
That's a good idea.
Right. There. Now I'm ready to listen.
Do you know Kelly Green?
Kelly? The dancer?
Yeah.
Why, every blasted sailor in the Orient knows Kelly. Let me see now. The last time I remember her, she was dancing on a table in Singapore for some Dutch officer.
Well, she's in town right now. She said she has some information you'd want to buy.
I bet she has. You a friend of hers?
Since this morning.
Oh, that's long enough for me. Now, what are you? Private detective?
I am, and that brings up one other point. She said you would pay me for finding her.
Oh, surely. What's your fee?
25.
Yours 50.
No.
I'll take it now. As far as I'm concerned, you've earned it. Now, then, what's her address?
Embassy Hotel, room 627.
Well, I'll get in touch with her.
Well, see you around.
Hey, wait a minute, Spade. How would you like to find someone for me?
Why not? Who are you looking for?
A man named Chan Lee. Now, suppose I tell you the old story now. You take a look at these. Look here. Feast your eyes.
He took a swatch of velvet cloth out of a sea jacket pocket and opened it. On it were 6 very large, very breathtaking, rose-colored pearls. Nostrum's eyes flicked over each pearl as if he knew it by name and lineage. He let me stare at them for several silent minutes before he spoke again.
See such timeless beauty captured in 6 perfect spheres?
I haven't seen many like those.
Yeah, and there aren't many. 12, to be exact. 12 in all the world.
Now, what are pearls like that worth?
Well, any jeweler in the city would give you $5,000 a pearl for them. But if I had all 12, I could sell the set for $75,000.
How'd you get half of the 12 pearls, Nostrum?
You ever hear of the Tautoi oyster banks off the Borneo Islands?
No, I haven't been pearling lately.
Well, I have.
Well, is that where these came from?
That's right, from the Tautoi banks. A friend of mine in Jolo, named Hong Kong Ari, tipped me off that 12 perfectly matched rose-colored pearls could be picked up at Cagayan Sulo from a wholesale buyer called Don Mao.
Well, which is it?
I shipped over on a catch with 2 other men. Don Mao asked 12,000 pesos for the lot, and I took them. Again, when we left Cagayan Sulo, I got caught in a storm and I went overboard. But I didn't fall accidentally. No, I was hit on the head and thrown overboard.
Your buddies wanted the pearls.
They got 6 of them in my sea bag. The other 6 were sewn inside my belt. I still have those. But I traced those 2 guys all over the Orient. But both of them was killed. The Morrow curse, they say. So far, 8 people have died over these pearls.
The Morrow curse?
Corny, isn't it?
Yes.
Anyway, the rumor is that the other 6 pearls have found their way to San Francisco, and that a man named John Lee knows about them. Oh, he's been here 48 hours, and I haven't found him.
Well, what do you plan to do when you find him?
Don't you worry, Spade. I have a buyer. I'll pay cash for him.
All right, I'll give you $50 worth of looking for Chan Lee. Now, where can I get in touch with you?
You in the book? Yeah. Then I'll find you. Just one thing, Spade. If Kelly likes it, you must be straight. Here, take a pearl.
Now, wait a minute, Master. You just said each one of these pearls is worth $5,000.
$7,500 to me, but I want to play it this way. Now, if you find Chan Lee, you ask him if he knows me, and ask him if he knows about the pearls. Now, maybe he won't talk to you, so if he doesn't, just show him the pearl, and then walk out. He'll fall all over himself to find me.
Well, you know best. I assume no responsibility for this pearl, Ron.
I can handle the responsibility for both of us.
Harry Ching, a friend of mine who has his ear to the Oriental Browns, put down his mother tongue edition of that great Chinese detective, Shylock Holmes, and directed me to a little food store just off Grand Street. There were a number of people in the store looking at merchandise. My man was small and fat and behind the counter.
Good afternoon. May I assist you?
Chan Lee?
Oh, no. My name is Nguyen.
Well, Harry Ching told me Chan Lee would be here.
Oh, before my name Nguyen, my name Charlie. The personal reason for change. You understand?
Not fully, no, but I'm not here to inquire about that.
Oh.
Tell me, do you know a man named Captain Eric Nostin?
No. Never hear name Captain Nostan.
With his big, red-pointed beard, rough. Registered?
Sorry, no.
Ever hear of the rose-colored pearls of Powhatan?
You joke. Why you talk pearl with Nguyen? I be your Chinese food, not beauty.
Well, I might have the wrong Chan Lee, but do you know anything about pearls?
Oh, I can tell good pearl from bad pearl. My uncle was pearl trader.
Well, take a look at this.
Oh, let me see. Oh,
Well, don't put it in your mouth.
I just did it to test skin. Oh, yeah. Sure, you joke with me.
Joke about what? I know where 5 more are just like that, worth $5,000 a piece.
Somebody pull your leg. This pearl, Japanese culture pearl, artificial color, worth maybe $5.
Really?
Yeah, next time, don't play joke on Chinese.
Lee, you in?
Oh, yes. Got me bored.
A skeptic, I took the pearl to a jeweler I know, and he told me Chan Lee lied in his straggly beard. It was the finest specimen of rose pearl he'd ever seen. Well, I went back to my office to wait for Nostin's call when and if it came. I say I went back to my office, but not directly in, because just as I was putting the key in my lock, something familiar pushed in between my shoulder blades.
Mr. Spade, I know all the tricks, so don't try any. Just open the door and go in.
You bet.
Now sit down at your desk and put your hands on top of it.
Yeah, you were looking at the tea in Chan Lee's store, weren't you?
I was, but I want the pearl you have.
Me?
You.
All right, if you're going to make a scene, suppose you give me something.
I don't have to give you anything. That pearl belongs to me. It was stolen from me, along with all the others.
By Eric Nostin.
Right. Bought those pearls from Tung Mao in Cagayan-Suvo. Nostrand was crew on my catch, and on the way back to Shanghai, he threw me overboard so he could have the pearls himself.
Well, didn't you drown, Mr.
Ivan T. Sanderson.
Oh.
Some Jap fisherman picked me up.
Good.
This is the first of the 12 rose-colored pearls I've gotten back, and I mean to get the other 11. Even if it takes a few dead bodies to accomplish it.
Well, I admire your spirit, sir, but I'm afraid you've picked out a tough career.
Where's Nostrand?
I don't know.
You must know you're working for him.
Look, he said he'd contact me. Honest,
How did you get tied up with him?
A girl named Kelly Green hired me to find her.
Call her.
All right.
And ask her where Nostrand is.
All right, I will. But don't point, sir. Not polite. Yes, huh?
Embassy Hotel.
Oh, 627, please.
Whom are you calling, please?
Miss Kelly Green.
Hello?
Kelly?
Yeah?
Sam Spade.
Yeah?
Did Captain Nostin get in touch with you?
No. Did you find him, Sam?
I did.
Well, he hasn't come up here yet. Not yet, Sam. Thanks for calling. Goodbye.
She hasn't seen him yet.
Thank you, Mr. Spade. I'll be checking with you from time to time.
He pocketed his gun and stalked out with a $5,000 pearl in his hand. I knew he had heard the operator say Embassy Hotel, and I knew he heard Kelly Green's room number. So I let him get a small head start. He went directly to the Embassy Hotel. I followed him into the lobby. He got the one elevator, and I had to wait until it went up and came down before I got it. When I arrived at the 6th floor, the door of 627 was slightly open, and there was a sharp odor in the air. Ivan T. Sanderson wasn't there. Neither was Kelly Green. Dragging himself across the floor, trying to reach the door, was Captain Eric Knoxon. He had 2 bullet holes in his back. I tried to help him, but beyond help. He collapsed, dead. As his body relaxed, his mouth slowly opened, and 5 rose-colored pearls rolled out.
You are listening to the weekly adventure of radio's most famous detective, Sam Spade. Three chimes mean good times on NBC. There's music and mystery with the chimes every Saturday. Tomorrow evening for mystery, Herbert Marshall stars as the man called X. In all the strange and far-off corners of the world, wherever there is intrigue, danger, and romance, there you will find the man called X. For music, there's your hit parade with the top tunes in the land as selected by you and brought to you by Snooky Lanson, Eileen Wilson, and the Hit Paraders. Last week, Tennessee Waltz and My Heart Cries for You were the top tunes across the country. Will they topple? Well, you'll have the answer tomorrow on Your Hit Parade. And now back to the String of Death caper, tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
After I found Knoxon's body, I called you, Lieutenant Kelsey, and told you as little as I could. After that, I went out to dinner and then home to bed. This hiatus was necessary in order to let the pot of vicious intrigue bubble a little. Well, the next morning, at considerable expense, we added a new character to our play, which was already an extravaganza.
Good morning.
Well, good morning.
I am not sure, monsieur, whether I am going to kill you or let you live.
A very effective entrance, sir. And who are you?
Jacques Malraux.
Aha!
Of the Malraux crest. The same, monsieur. It was reported in the paper that you found the body of Captain Eric Nostrand in the apartment of a girl named Kelly Green.
Well, I'm afraid I just happened to be there.
Did you happen to know if anyone found a number of pearls on Nostrand's body?
Well, as far as I know, they didn't. You mean the Tawatawi pearls, don't you?
Aha. You've heard about them?
A little, yeah. They belonged to a man named Tung Se Mao, who stole them to a man named Ivan Sanderson, who had them stolen from him by Captain Nostrand, who had half of his stolen from him. That's the installment I just read, anyway.
Perhaps it is mostly right, except for one important point. Tung Se Mao was holding them for me. They were not brought. They were taken from him at the point of a gun.
Getting involved.
I risked my life in the shark-infested waters of Saitari diving for those pearls. No man but me will possess them. Now, where to find Kelly Green and Ivan Sanderson?
I don't know. The police don't know, so I can't tell you.
Aha. All right, Mr. Spade. You have an honest face, I believe you. But if it turns out later that you have deceived me, you will find to your regret that Jacques Malraux is not an easy man to do business with. Au revoir.
Following his exit, I allowed a pause for dramatic effect, and then dissolved into the next scene. On the front door of Chanley's grocery store, there was a sign, closed for the day, so I went around the block, through an alley, and came up on his living quarters from the back way. I stood at the back door and knew somebody was home listening to some Oriental Artie Shaw. I tried the doorknob, it turned, and I carefully opened the door and stepped in.
What you do my house?
Well,
What like you come inside the house?
Turn that thing off and I'll tell you.
All right, get out or I call police.
John, I didn't come here to quibble with you. I came to speak right from the shoulder.
What you talk about?
The Tawatawi pearl.
I don't know, Pearl. Get out.
You know Nostrand was killed yesterday, don't you?
I tell you before, I know no man named Nostrand.
All right, where's Sanderson?
What man?
The tall man with the quick mustache who was in your store yesterday when I was there.
So plenty people come my store. I not know them all by name. Come by anybody. Plenty mustache.
All right, play it your way for
Get
now.
out.
But if you ever do meet up with Sanderson, just tell him that I have the other 5 pearls. The ones Nostrand was killed for. Just as I closed the door behind me, I saw a pair of red alligator shoes with a pair of nylons draped over them pushed under a chair. I hesitated a minute, thought better, and hurried away. I went back to my office, pulled out a good book, and read for 3 hours. It paid off.
Sam, I had to come to you. I'm in an awful jam.
I should say you are, and it won't get you any easier when I call the police.
I knew where Eck was found in my apartment, but I didn't have anything to do with it.
Nuts. I called you from here not 10 minutes before Nostrum was found dead.
All right. He was there, but he wanted me to say he wasn't.
You want me to tell you something else about yourself? I checked with the Embassy Hotel. Your bill was paid for a month in advance. You weren't stranded. It was a murder setup from beginning to end. But I can't understand your being dumb enough to use your real name.
He wasn't supposed to have been killed there. It was supposed to happen someplace else.
That's what I thought.
Oh, don't do it, Sam. I came here to tell you the truth. I need your help.
I can't help you now, Kelly.
He made me do it. He made me come to San Francisco, wait for Nostrum, and then find him.
Who made you? Sanderson?
No. Chan Lee. He killed Nostrum. He shot him. But we heard somebody at the door and went out for fire escape before we could search Nostrum.
What do you mean he made you do it?
Look at this. That arm isn't pretty, is it? There must be 1,000 holes in it.
When did you start this?
In Singapore. Chan used to be there, and he supplied me. I had to follow him here because I didn't have enough money to buy it.
I see. Well, Kelly, I'm sorry. Maybe the state will take that into consideration.
Sam, I want to go into partnership with you.
Partnership? Doing what?
Selling pearls. You have 5 of them. I have 6 of them. Here.
Where'd you get these?
From Chan. I heard you there. After you left, he got excited and had to take something to quiet himself down. I grabbed these and beat it while he was still under. What do you say, Sam? Let's sell them and go someplace.
Well, it might be arranged. Where's Sanderson?
Ivan Sanderson?
Yeah.
He lives on a boat. It's a yawl, a trader anchored at Pier 32. Oh, don't worry about him, Sam. You can take care of him.
I probably can. Did you ever hear of a guy named Jacques Malraux?
Malraux? Jacques Malraux?
Yeah.
Was he in San Francisco?
He was in here yesterday looking for you and Sanderson.
Sam, the deal's off. I don't want to have anything to do with it. Here, keep the pearls.
I picked up the 6 pearls and put them in my office safe with the other 5 I'd taken from Nostrum. Then I went down to the waterfront looking for Sanderson. Sean Lee, who was still under drugs, there'd be no problem for the police to pick up. Nor would Kelly Green once her drug supply began to give out. The trader was a trim, white yawl tied up at Pier 32 with a Jacob ladder running down to its deck. I climbed down and, looking around, found Sanderson in a cabin sitting behind a table. It wasn't a commonplace thing. You see, he'd just been shot.
You can't do anything for me, Sam. There's nothing to do.
How did it happen, Sanderson?
Malraux curse.
Jacques Malraux.
Yes. He made a vow that he was going to kill anyone who touched the pearl. Anyone.
Did he get your pearl?
Yes. Who has the rest?
I do, 11 of them.
When tomorrow finds out, I wonder how you're going to feel. Dying. 11. 5.
That's when I turned the whole thing over to you, Kelsey. I went back to my office, put in a call to your office, and gave you a complete rundown on the case from beginning to end. Who did what and how you might go about finding them. You said you'd be right over to pick up the pearls, but you got there a little late. I had no sooner put down the phone when...
All right. You have a pearl. Give them to Chubb, or he will not hesitate to shoot you.
The way you did Nostrum?
I don't have time for talk. Hurry, get pearls.
Okay. They're in my safe here. I don't think I'm going to give you any arguments or pull anything clever.
It would be too bad if you did.
I don't really know who these pearls do belong to, and I don't care much anymore. You can have the worries instead of me.
I would be glad to worry about such a treasure.
There you are.
So here you are. Throw them to me.
Catch.
Thank you. Now I will go. I advise you against raising outcry.
I'm glad to get rid of you. Go and have a long and happy life.
Oh, I have been hand-picked by the dog.
He was, but for a different reason. He put the pearls in his pocket, and with a little smile of triumph at how easy it had been, he turned and quickly walked out of the office. He even closed the door politely. But outside...
He didn't get far. I ran for the hall, firing my .38 out of the holster. Chun Li lay still on the floor, and his coat pocket had been turned inside out. Steps were pounding down the stairwell, and I followed. When I hit the sidewalk, he was half a block away and running. I fired at him, and he stopped and fired back. My second one caught him in the chest, and he fell twitching across the sidewalk. I walked right up to him, but it was all over. Jacques Marot was dead. And one by one, 12 of the most beautiful rose-colored pearls in the world were dropping out of his hand, rolling down the gutter and plopping into the sewer, where they belong. Period. End of string.
Sam, did they all go down the sewer?
Every pearl, Effie. Who knows where they might be now?
Maybe at the filtering plant.
Maybe out to sea.
Sam, can I go off early tonight?
Effie, put that thought out of your mind. They're not worth it.
Oh, but Sam, all that work.
I said forget it. I'll go type that up. Go on, scoot. Three chimes mean good times on NBC. There's music and fun in the air tomorrow evening, styled to suit your Saturday night of merriment. Dennis Day brings you songs and comedy in his charming boyish manner, and then Judy Canova gets together with her frolicsome friends for Mountain Melody and Mayhem, followed by Grand Ole Opry with singing MC Red Foley and his gang. It's a Saturday night of fun designed for you.
Oh, Sam, those pearls. I'd give anything just to wear them one night.
Anything?
Well, I suppose it isn't worth it. But someday, somehow, I want to wear expensive jewelry.
Effie, I'd rather see you with a sparkling light in your eye any day. Looks much better on you.
And, of course, it's cheaper.
Effie, is that a slur on my character?
Oh, I don't get paid too much. Or too often.
All right, let's settle this thing right here. You say you want some pearls?
Oh, I'd love some.
Well, here you are. 6 oysters. 3 boys and 3 girls. You can grow your own at home.
Sam, are they really oysters?
They are, indeed. I picked them up at Fisherman's Wharf just this afternoon.
What do I do?
Well, I'll make it easier for you. I also bought a bottle of cocktail sauce. So which will it be, pearls or oysters on the half shell?
Oh, Sam, you're so different. Let's eat them.
Not until you say...
Good night.
Good night, sweetheart. The Adventures of Sam Spade are produced, edited, and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade was played by Stephen Dunn. Lorene Tuttle is Effie. Script for tonight's adventure by John Michael Hayes. Musical scoring by Lud Gluskin, conducted by Robert Armbruster. Join us again next week, same time, for another adventure with Sam Spade. Now the Magnificent Montague, then it's Duffy's Tavern on NBC.
The National Broadcasting Company presents The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective.
Sam Spade Detective Agency.
Me, sweetheart.
Sam, a man named $5 Frankie called up and said he's putting $2 in your name on a sure thing at some track or other.
Well, that's nice to hear.
I don't think it is at all. You know I don't approve of your gambling, Sam.
Effie, you do some things I disapprove of, but do I snipe at you?
Well, no, but...
No buts about it. And besides, I didn't place the bet. It was placed for me.
I don't care. It's the principle of the thing I don't like.
Well, suppose I put it this way, Effie. That $2 bet on a sure thing was more than just a money bet. It was a gamble on the inherent goodness of the human soul.
Oh, Sam, you're just trying to confuse me.
I am, but I'll straighten everything out to your satisfaction, I trust, when I appear at the office with a highly stylized and rather charming saga of horse players and the world they live in. What else but the sure thing caper?
For NBC, William Spear, radio's outstanding producer, director of mystery and crime drama, brings you the greatest private detective of them all in The Adventures of Sam Spade.
hope you always are at the wages I pay you.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up, Sam.
When I pay them.
I don't want to start an argument, but I do need some new clothes.
Oh?
You want me to put up a good front, don't you?
I will rephrase my answer. Yes.
Well?
Effie, if you can hold Warp and Wolf together for a few weeks, I have a feeling we'll be rolling in dough, driving big cars and wearing mink.
Oh, you mean that best. All conjecture.
Enough of your sneering. Now, you hear me out. Weigh the evidence, and maybe you'll feel differently.
I doubt it. No good comes of playing the horses.
Dates, fill it in. Two $5 Frankie, care of...
Sam, wait a minute now. $5 Frankie what? What's his last name?
I don't think he has one, F. As I get it, he was born just before a Gold Cup handicap at Pimlico, and they didn't have time to give him a last name and place a bet, too. So they chose the bet.
Oh, Sam, that's awful.
What do you mean, awful? That horse paid 18 to 1. Well, to get on, two $5 Frankie, care of Patterson Smoke Shop, Myrtle Street, City, from Samuel Sucker Spade, San Francisco, license number 1375596. Subject, the sure thing caper. Dear $5 Frankie, for you to be seen at the hour of 1 p.m. post time anywhere but at the track is truly a veritable, unbelievable occurrence. So when my door pivoted open Monday at said hour and a short gent with 36 shoulders and a 44 long plaid coat came in, my eyes told me it was you, but my mind screamed no. I checked your wide-brimmed pork pie, your zoot gabardine slacks, suede and alligator wing-tipped shoes, and it still repeated you.
Sammy, do not look as if you have just lamped the ghost. It is I, $5 Frankie.
But at this hour, Frankie, what is it? Your watch broken? Did you lose your way? You sleepwalking? What?
No, Sam. I am in complete possession of my faculties.
Good.
And I came here with the full knowledge of my intellect. I even see through the crystal of my timepiece that it is 1 o'clock, the hour from which they break from the barrier.
That's right.
But I have not been drinking, and as for sleepwalking, that is strictly for gents with unhappy marital relationships.
All right, Frankie, I'm forced to agree with you that you're standing in front of me instead of the $5 window. Now, what's the dope?
Well, ordinarily, I do not resort to hiring a strong arm to consummate my business dealings.
Naturally.
There being a full supply of such muscles lying around the back room of Patterson's smoke shop.
Loose?
But when the job calls for both tact and muscle, I am forced to roam far abroad in search of the same.
You mean you have a job for me? A real honest-to-sea-biscuit job that'll pay money?
With the ordinary Seamus, I might try to offer a little paddock chatter, you know?
Yes.
But with you, Sammy, I will tender coin of the realm.
Good.
I will pay you, of course, in $5 bills, as is my wont.
In advance?
10, 20, 30, 40, 50. 10 times 5.
Figures.
Now, do you veritably consider yourself in my employ?
I am veritably in the race, Frankie.
Good. Now, Sammy, leave it to be understood by both parties that I am not touting you off on any sour deals. A rather curious situation has arisen, and I will explain it to you candidly, as they say in certain novels which I have not read.
Well, most novels lose so much in the translation.
True.
Yes.
My narrative begins yesterday, to be exact. Yesterday, their heels and toes into the back room of Patterson's smoke shop, a gent whose face was once as familiar to me as my own.
By name, said gent?
They call him Gentle Joe Higgins.
Gentle Joe.
Yeah, a horse trainer by profession, which in our civilized society stands second only to jockeys in importance.
Granted, no argument.
Well, I say to Gentle Joe, it has been some time, Gentle Joe, since I see you around and about. And he says, I have gave up the old life for the new, as I no longer am welcome at the track since a certain embarrassing incident 5 years ago.
What incident was that, Frankie?
A horse doping job, the illegal type,
Oh.
which depresses me to relate. You know? So I will not.
Ethics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Gentle Joe looks a little worse for the wear, his clothing being literally shabby. Oh, I figure a touch, and I am preparing a story that will wring tears from a tax collector even. But Gentle Joe does not mention the word touch. Oh. Instead, he announces he has a sure thing. Sammy, you know how those words do to a horse player.
It's like throwing a bale of catnip to a lion.
Oh, my arteries open to let the blood through faster. My nerves give off loud, ringing noises, and my mind is already computing.
Of course.
Well, before I can stop myself, I have pressed 500 rocks in Gentle Joe's hand, begging him to place them on the same sure thing.
I'd have done the same thing under the circumstances.
Of course. But Gentle Joe says it will take at least 1,500 rocks to pull off the deal.
Oh.
He further advises me that the horse in question is due to return 20 rocks to 1.
So you gave him the other 1,000?
Well, not having it in my genes at the time, I cut 2 other business and professional friends in on the gravy. Dinosaur Torelli and Bones Moulton, 5 bills apiece.
And then?
Gentle Joe rushes out of Patterson's and...
Has never been heard from again.
A sad tale.
You think he just stole the money?
Sam, Gentle Joe Higgins is a horse player, not a common sneak thief.
I'm sorry. But did he leave town?
He did not. On the advice of certain informers, I tracked this Gentle Joe to a ramble-shackle rooming house on Clark Street. 241 to be exact.
And?
And there the trail gets very cold indeed.
He's made his move, huh?
No. But he has a landlady who would not let me in.
Complicated.
Oh, she is a frightening person to behold. She is indeed half wildcat and half witch.
I'll deal with her.
Good. And tell Gentle Joe that I am not an overly suspicious person, but also relate to him my position. Dinosaur Torelli and Bones Moulton are 2 such gents as it is wise not to cross.
Rough.
Back fence gossip has it they are the Undertaker's best friend.
Well.
Indeed, it is also rumored they are behind their quota for the month. Well, and Sam.
Yeah?
At Bay Meadows.
Yeah?
A bad card. Nothing going today.
Oh. In preparation for my meeting with this redoubtable landlady, I ran through my repertoire of low, mean faces in front of the mirror, leaving smoking holes in the glass. And then I stamped out, heading for the rooming house on Clark Street, 241 to be exact. My knock was answered by... Well, it was even worse than you told me. She was gumming a sen-sen.
What are you standing there for? You're shading my geraniums.
Oh, no. Well, sir?
Speak up, Curly. I ain't got all day.
Madam, perchance do you house in this quaint colonial inn a fine old gentleman called Gentle Joe Higgins?
You the Lord?
No, I'm in business for myself. See this?
Oh, one thing I hate worse than the law is private detectives. Can't trust them. No. Cheap, never have any money.
Look.
Never want to pay anything.
Look.
Always want something for nothing.
You...
A surly, no good lot of pocket pickers who should all be boiled in oil and thrown in a pit full of snarling
One
beasts
moment,
of prey.
Madam, look at this.
Oh,
Yeah.
well. That's the kind of crinkling I'd like to hear.
I thought you would.
Wouldn't mind having a mattress stuffed full of that green paper.
It is a pleasure, distinctly, to be able to present it to such a charming, witty, and gay woman, I guess, as yourself. Now,
Come in, Bright Eyes.
Yes. Now, where did you say Gentle Joe could be located?
Second door to the left.
Thank you, kindly.
Only he ain't in. Gone out somewhere, he has.
Your timing, madam, and I should add Defarge, was a little sadistic. Now, give me my 5 back.
You ain't heard my proposition yet.
I've heard enough. Madam, you have acted in a very hateful manner.
Another 5, I'll let you wait in his room.
Madam, you are a Dresden Doll. No matter what anybody says.
Can the tanner wave you locks and let's go. Let's have a ball.
Once in Gentle Joe's room, I closed the door, thus separating myself from that skid row bankhead. While I was waiting, I cased the room. Spartan. A bed, a chair, a dresser, a racing form, some worn clothes, various mementos, and pictures of his better days at the track. I was studying an old print of Equipoise when Gentle Joe turned up.
Yes, she was a great stretch runner, wasn't she? Yes, indeed. 1 mile and 141 and 5th, and hardly damp at the end.
Well, yes.
Now, don't
yes.
look upset, Mr. Spade. Fanny told me that you were a detective waiting for her.
Oh, she's a swell kid.
Yeah, Fanny's impetuous, but a good sort, yeah. Keeps the right people out and lets the wrong ones in. A fine judge of character.
No, you're generous, sir.
I'm about to have a cup of tea. Will you join me?
Be delighted.
I'll just take the water out of the tap. It's hot enough.
Well, Gentle Joe, I'm here on a rather painful mission.
How in goes the tea?
$5 Frankie thinks you caged him out of $1,500.
And now for the water.
And 2 tough friends of his are looking for your scalp.
Yeah, there we are. Now we'll just let that steep a while, and we'll have us a pickup.
Did you hear anything I said?
Well, of course, Mr. Spade, of course. Every word. I know why you're here. those men are worried about their money. But next time you see them, you tell them not to worry.
Well, they said this sure thing of yours was going to return 20 to 1 odds. That's a lot of money.
Oh, it will, all of that. Maybe even many times more. Yes, it's a sure thing.
You mean the race hasn't been run off yet?
Yeah, there we are now. I think that these should be ready.
Well.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Now, this is yours.
Thank you.
And this is mine.
Huh?
A Darjeeling flowering pico. There's no finer tea.
Has an almond flavor.
Yes, it's peculiar to the region, especially pronounced in last year's crop.
Yes. Well, shall we get back to business?
Yes. Now, you tell those gentlemen that they have no need to fret about their money. It'll be returned to them many times over. Many, many times over. Well, are you feeling all right, Mr. Spade?
Groggy,
They'll look back on this investment with considerable pleasure and pride.
I don't know what
And
happened.
someday they'll be able to say that they, too...
Stupid Sam. Nobody had to give me a saliva test to guess what happened. That nice, sweet, gentle old man had doped me right up to the ears. I tried to stand up, but my legs were like 2 wet pieces of spaghetti, and I went down. Gentle Joe went right on talking and smiling until everything was nothing. When I came to, Joe was gone, and so was my faith in horse people. Fanny had made herself scarce, too, and I stumbled alone out into the daylight for resuscitation. It took walking, coffee, whiskey, and a bowl of raspberries to bring me around. I eventually found a safe haven in my own office. Sam Spade, Detective Agency. Mr. Hangover speaking.
Mr. Spade, this is Gentle Joe.
What? Listen, you...
Yeah, I know how upset you must be over my little deception.
Little
but,
deception?
It was
What?
all to a good purpose, Mr. Spade. You see, I had to get out of there in a hurry with the minimum of discussion.
I seem to remember you were hustled out of the racing game for doping a few 3-year-olds.
Well, that's what some people in official circles felt. But, Mr. Spade, I want to apologize to you and tell you that I will be able to explain everything to your satisfaction. No.
What's the matter?
Help! Get away!
Hello! 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 Somebody put the phone back on the hook, so I hung up and dialed a friend at the telephone exchange. She quickly traced the number. The call came from the Sunset Stables out near Bay Meadows. I dialed back, but nobody answered, so I beat it out there. It was dark, and the only person I could rouse was a young stable boy.
Yeah, what do you want?
My name's Spade. A guy named Gentle Joe was calling me from here, and something happened to him.
Gentle Joe Higgins?
That's what I said.
Oh, I haven't seen him in 2 or 3 years.
Now, look, don't give me that. He called from here. Now, where is he?
Oh, look, beat it, will you, before I scream for the cops?
All right, I'll look myself.
Oh, I say you can't. Now, no.
But I did. There were 2 phones inside the stables, both hanging on posts. The second one had the number the phone company had given me, and although someone had tried to cover it up with sawdust, on the floor, under the phone, were 3 tea bags, and somebody had done a lot of bleeding. Looked like Gentle Joe's parlay had run out.
You are listening to the weekly adventure of radio's most famous detective, Sam Spade. Three chimes mean good times on NBC. There's music and mystery on NBC every Saturday night. For music tomorrow, your hit parade brings you the top tunes in the land as selected by you and presented by Raymond Scott's Orchestra, Snooky Lanston, and Eileen Wilson. For mystery tomorrow, Herbert Marshall stars as the man called X. In all the strange and far-off places of the world, wherever there is intrigue, danger, and romance, there you will find the man called X. Hear him tomorrow night. And now back to the Sure Thing caper, tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
I collared the stable boy and questioned him about the blood under the phone and about what could have happened to Gentle Joe Higgins. Nothing. Just wouldn't talk, and he was too small to beat up. So I went looking for the stable manager. He lived in a small white house behind the exercise ring. He wasn't too happy at being awakened, but when I explained things, he came down to the stable with me.
I can't understand it, Mr. Spade. Gentle Joe Higgins hasn't been around here for at least 2 years.
That's what the boy told me.
You see, for doping a horse once, he can't come near a track or a stable. We let him hang around here, the racing commission would fine us.
Well, he called from here and something happened to him. The number the phone company gave me matches up with one of your phones. And there was a lot of blood on the floor, too.
Here we are. Now, which phone was it?
That one.
All right, let's look at it.
This is the phone, and here's the... Wait a minute. Come in here, you.
Let go of me, you big... Let go.
Now, tell Mr. Kemp here what was on the floor when I came in.
Nothing. Nothing but sawdust.
I tell you, there was blood there.
No, honest, nothing.
Mr. Spade, this boy's been with me for 5 years. He's perfectly reliable.
Well, so am I.
Well, what do you think happened?
I think somebody used this old man for a punching bag.
Maybe you'd better go home and sleep on it, Mr. Spade. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
Look, don't humor me. Make this kid talk.
Mr. Kemp, this guy's tappy.
Danny, are you certain there was no blood or no Gentle Joe?
Mr. Kemp, I'd swear on my father's grave if necessary.
You see, Mr. Spade?
I calmed down in a little while and searched the place myself. I came up with exactly nothing but an attack of hay fever and a horsey smell. And I suddenly wondered why I cared about Gentle Joe at all after what he'd done to me. So I went home and called $5 Frankie.
You say you have conversed with Gentle Joe?
Twice, and both under rather trying circumstances, Frankie. Once I was doped, and once something happened to him.
Uh-huh. I take it he did not heed the message I employed you to convey.
So far, he hasn't heeded anything.
Then he is, without a doubt, in considerable trouble.
I would say so.
It seems that my business associates, Dinosaur Torelli and Bones Moulton, have blown their tops and gone looking for Gentle Joe with something special in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Something like assassination.
I was afraid of that.
Mayhaps they have already contacted Gentle Joe for an accounting.
Certainly, mayhaps. I think they've already mowed him down.
And there is nothing further for us to converse about, Sam. It is history, and it will be recorded thusly.
Well, if you say so.
And if I might tender a bit of advice, I would say hop into the Simmons, Sammy, and knock yourself off a few hours of that ever-loving forgetfulness. And when you arise, you will have erased from your mind the names of Gentle Joe Higgins and yours truly, $5 Frankie, for some time to come.
I was tired, and it seemed smart to take his advice. So I did. I went to bed. It must have been 3 in the morning when something woke me up. It was a ghost with a big white head tiptoeing into my room. The thought was so absurd that I turned over and started back to sleep. That's when the ghost touched me, and I grabbed for him.
Wait, hey, let me go, Mr. Spade. Let me go. It's me, Gentle Joe.
Will I turn on a light?
Of course, I look a little different. The bandages around my head look like a turban.
What happened to you?
I was in Mr. Kemp's house when you were searching the stable.
Stupid me.
I should have come out then, but I didn't. And then I got to thinking I certainly owed you some kind of an explanation. So I found your address and came here.
All right, I'll collect the explanation. Now, first, what was the dope for?
Well, I was afraid you might take me back to $5 Frankie and his friends before I did what I had to do.
Would you care to tell me what that was?
I wanted to buy a horse.
With their money?
Yes, with their money.
They thought you were betting it on a horse, a sure thing.
I know, but let me explain. I was thrown off the tracks for doping a horse. I needed money, but that's another story. After 5 years, I could get my trainer's license back.
Tell me more.
Do you know what it is to love horse flesh and not be able to go near it for 5 years?
No, the bangtail bug never got me. You can't con guys like Frankie and his thugs out of some money to buy a horse whenever you want one.
There's more to the story. The horse I doped didn't get into the race. And the jockey had to ride another mount. He was thrown and killed.
Well, it was too bad.
I felt that I'd murdered the man. His name was Sandy Bean.
Sandy Bean? That stable boy at Sunset Stables any relative?
His son.
Oh.
His wife and son ran out of money, and they've had a hard time of it. I've worked as a janitor for the past 5 years trying to raise enough money to buy them a horse to help make up for what I did.
How much did you save?
Only $1,500. The horse I wanted, a 2-year-old named Sure Thing, cost $3,000.
Well, things are beginning to clear up now. How did you figure you could take money from Frankie to buy it?
Well, Frankie and his friends made a lot of money off Sandy Bean when he rode. I figured it wouldn't hurt them to pay a little of it back.
Well, I don't think they'd see it that way.
I wasn't stealing the money. I was going to give each of them a 10% of the horse. I didn't dare tell it until after I bought it.
Uh-huh. Well, Gentle Joe, maybe they'll see the light, but I doubt it.
I was going to take 10% for training her, give the other 60 to Mrs. Bean and her son, Danny. He'll make a good jockey. And Sure Thing is a great horse. I know. They'll make a lot of money off of it.
It's a noble plan.
Tomorrow my 5 years is up, and I wanted to give them the horse then.
I see. Who wrapped you up when I was talking to you on the phone?
Danny was backing a horse into the stable, and it got excited. It started kicking, and I was in the way.
I thought maybe you'd been done in.
I know. That's why I came to see you and explain things. Can you do anything to help me?
Well,
All right, everybody, just stay where we are.
There's no need to wave a gun around here.
Shut up, you. Gentle Joe, we've been looking for you around and about.
Now, Dinosaur, now look.
Here, all we wish to hear from you, Joe. Come along.
Look, you're not going to take him out of here without a fight.
We wouldn't mind this at all, inasmuch as we come equipped with a little artillery.
Bones, I didn't steal that money.
Shut up.
All right, knock it off.
You want some of the sand?
Yeah, if you think you can do it. And it turned out they could. I knocked Torelli's gun aside, hit him with a hard left, and he didn't go down. I tried a right, then a knee, then a couple of elbows. And I was just getting ahead of the game when something hit me across the face and printed Colt 45 on my forehead. I know this sounds repetitious, but I went out again. Honest, I did. Really. I'm sorry. Appropriately, it was dawn when I woke up cold and headachy. Of course, I was alone. Gentle Joe Higgins was the victim of a successful snatch, and I had an idea what might have happened to him. I dressed and started looking all over town, but I didn't have any luck. Any. It wasn't until I was eating breakfast and met a police sergeant I know that I got a tip.
Morning, Sam.
Hello, Sergeant.
What happened to you?
I tried to kiss her.
I didn't know they made those kind of dames anymore. Mind if I sit down?
Pleasure.
Yeah, we got a homicide this morning.
Yeah, who?
Who knows? Just an old man. Found him in the park. Somebody really worked him over.
Well, what do you look like?
Ooh, 5'10", white hair, old clothes. Probably a bum.
Where is he, Mord?
Yeah. Kelsey's putting a rundown on him now.
Yeah, I'll see you later, Carter. Thanks.
Hey, Sam, haven't finished your breakfast.
They let me in the morgue, and I took a look at the corpse. And once I saw it, I knew just where I had to go. I caught a cab out to the Sunset Stables. The horses were just having their rolled oats when I pulled in, and Danny Bean, the stable boy, was there, dressed in his cleanest Levi's.
What do you want?
Where's the show going to be?
What show?
When Gentle Joe gives you the horse, isn't this the day?
Okay, so you know. Gee, I'm sorry about last night, Mr. Spade. I had to keep it a secret.
Forget it. You did the right thing. When's the ceremony?
In about an hour, right here. You want to wait?
Sure. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Of course, I cheated a little. I didn't tell you who it was I saw in the morgue. The truth was I didn't know. It wasn't Gentle Joe Higgins, though, and so I reasoned thusly if Torelli and Moulton didn't finish him off in the night, he must have gotten out of it somehow. He was a resourceful old man, and I was sure nothing short of death would keep him from presenting Danny with a horse on the day he planned. And I was right. An hour later, he came walking in leading the prettiest chestnut mare I'd ever seen. There was a smile 2 feet wide on his face, and behind him, carrying blankets, a saddle, and riding colors, were who else? $5 Frankie, Dinosaur Torelli, and Bones Moulton.
Well, Mr. Spade, this is a surprise.
Well, it was a pleasant one.
Yeah, this is sure thing. Oh, isn't she a beauty?
She is indeed. How'd you do it, Gentle Joe?
Well, Mr. Spade, I just invited them over to my place to have a cup of tea. You get it?
Yeah.
While we was a half out, he explained the whole thing to us.
Sound like a good deal to me. We can win both ways, on the track and at the window.
Oh, look at the life of that horse. Just waiting to cross the finish line.
Sammy boy, this is indeed a signal occasion, huh? This is the first time I have ever been this close to a horse, and me being a horse player.
Well, have you talked to her yet?
Why, sure. I am already talking to Sure Thing and explained to her our financial position.
Oh.
She has assured me she will romp home first, more times than not.
Well, gentlemen, shall we do what we came here to do?
Sure, leave us make the presentation.
Come on, let's get into business.
Give the animal to the kid already, I agree.
Danny?
Yes, Mr. Higgins?
Danny, the 4 of us are giving you this horse, Sure Thing, in memory of your father, the late, great Sandy Bean.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
She's a beauty, isn't she?
I feel like I was just born.
Ride her well, son. Ride her well.
And I think he will. Period. End of report.
Oh, Sam, it was so beautiful.
A simple, old-fashioned type story, F. We feel we can use one now and then.
And I'm glad nothing happened to anybody. Because I just love them all.
Everything considered, F, they weren't half bad. Now, how about typing it up?
Oh, I'd love to.
3 chimes mean good times on NBC. There's music and fun in the air tomorrow evening, styled to suit your Saturday night of merriment. Dennis Day brings you songs and comedy in his charming, boyish manner, and then Judy Canova gets together with her frolicsome friends for Mountain Melody and Mayhem, followed by Grand Ole Opry with singing MC Red Foley and his gang. It's a Saturday night of fun designed for you.
All typed up.
Now, let me see now. Mm-hmm. You captured $5 Frankie's peculiar style. Perfect. And that wasn't easy.
Oh, Sam, I was just thinking.
Oh?
We ought to contribute something along with everybody else. To that horse, that sure thing.
I probably will, Effie. A few dollars here, a few there, whenever it's running.
Oh, I didn't mean betting.
Oh.
What I meant is, for example, it's going to need a lot of hay, isn't it?
Bales and bales.
Well, my cousin Frisbee cuts our lawn. I'll have him save the grass and send it to the stable.
Effie, you are a noble creature, but I think Sure Thing can get along without your little lawn.
Well, I've seen horses wearing stockings. Couldn't I knit a pair?
Two pair. But, Eff, let's not lose our heads. $5 Frankie and his pals will take good care of Sure Thing. How about worrying about taking care of me?
All right, Sam.
Yes.
Could you use some grass or some socks?
Effie, knock off this horse talk, will you? We're almost at the wire now. People are just champing at the bit for the payoff.
All right, Sam. Let's finish neck and neck, huh?
Why not? Come here, Sure Thing.
Night, Sam.
Good night, sweetheart.
The Adventures of Sam Spade are produced, edited, and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade was played by Stephen Dunn. Lorene Tuttle is Effie. Wally Mayer was Gentle Joe. Script for tonight's adventure by John Michael Hayes. Musical scoring by Lud Gluskin, conducted by Robert Armbruster. Join us again next week, same time, for another adventure with Sam Spade. The fight against heart disease, the greatest killer in America, goes on with increased intensity. But doctors cannot wage this battle alone. They need your help for the eventual control of heart disease through research, education, and community heart programs. Give now to fight heart disease. Send your contribution to HEART, H-E-A-R-T, in care of your nearest post office. Join the magnificent Montague, then it's Duffy's Tavern on NBC. The National Broadcasting Company presents The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective.
Sam Spade Detective Agency.
Me, sweetheart.
Was it awful, Sam?
Excruciating, F. I suffered, girl. How I suffered.
But there's no other way, Sam. When fate turns against a man.
True, dear one, true. But from somewhere I must find strength.
You must.
To pick up the shattered fragments of my life, to raise my eyes once again to the horizon and piece by piece put them together again.
Sam!
And the two of us, dear one, hand in hand, shall go marching down the years together.
Oh, yes.
Brace yourself, sweetheart.
I'll try, Sam.
Gather together the homely, humble tools of your trade. Find 6 dry handkerchiefs and prepare to greet me with a smile behind the tears. I'll be down before you can change stations with a report entitled The Soap Opera Caper.
For NBC, William Spear, radio's outstanding producer-director of mystery and crime drama, brings you the greatest private detective of them all in The Adventures of Sam Spade.
Sam?
Who called, young widder Perrine?
Lane F. Is it all over, Sam?
Is a soap opera ever over, dear one?
Oh, but it's out on the phone like you...
I know, but it's not the end. It's never the end. Pull up a chair now. Take a firm grip on pad, pencil, and your emotions. Got 'em?
I'm at the ready, Sam.
Good show. To Agatha Pilbeam, from Samuel Spade, license number 137596. Subject, the soap opera caper. How was I to know what was on her mind? This strange woman, this mysterious Agatha Pilbeam, this voice on the telephone, directing me to the big, sprawling house in Hillsboro.
Is that clear, Mr. Spade?
How urgent is it, Miss Pilbeam?
Very, very urgent, Mr. Spade. I don't know which way to turn.
So I went to the big, sprawling house in Hillsboro, pulled up behind an ancient Model A parked at the curb, and was walking past it toward the gate when...
Spade.
Huh? Oh, Croc Morton, isn't it?
Good old Sammy, you remember.
Yeah. When'd you get out?
Last month. But I'm a good boy now. Here, take one of my cards. There, if you know anyone who needs a first-class private eye, Croc's available. What are you doing here, Sam?
A lady wants to see me.
The soap opera queen?
Is that what she is?
Oh, 6 or 8 of them, she writes.
Oh?
Behind the Clouds, The Heart of Julia Jukes.
That must be...
Life, I forget the rest.
Yeah.
Beats gumshoeing, Sammy.
Yeah, well, right if you get work, Croc.
I'm on a job right now.
You mean you got your license already?
Oh, me? Well,
you can always run off a photostat of someone else's.
Oh, Sam, that's mean.
Croc was a crook, but a nice crook. He never killed anybody. He was just an uncurable camera fiend, specializing in taking pictures of people doing what they hadn't ought to be doing. Stuff like that. Or if you wanted a photostat of somebody else's document, Croc was your man. Well, I walked up the drive to the door, threw it past a white shirt front that turned out to have a butler in it, and toward what seemed to be your study. But it wasn't. It was your bedroom, and you were reclining on 6 pillows with a cigarette in a long holder in one hand and the mouthpiece of a dictating machine in the other.
But, John... Hush, Melinda. There is no way to go now but ahead. John, you're so strong. I need you. I need your courage. We must face this thing together, Melinda.
The organ
What
was a
Veronica
phonograph
says is true.
playing in her
If
ear.
there is indeed
I
another
waited for an
woman whose
opening, but there
life-
just wasn't any,
Don't
so I had to
say it,
interrupt.
John, don't even...
Miss
But don't
Pilbeam.
you see, Melinda, we can't run away from life.
Miss...
We must approach this
Miss
thing
Pilbeam?
calmly, Melinda. Don't... beg pardon? Just a minute. My mood music.
I see. I'm Sam Spade, Miss Pilbeam.
Come. Come sit beside me, Mr. Spade.
Well.
It's time we talked things over.
Well, thanks. Oh, maybe you'd better start at the
When a
beginning.
woman reaches 40, Mr. Spade, she comes to lean upon her man.
Oh?
To look upon him not just as someone to cherish, but as a source, a spring, a fountain of strength.
Mm-hmm. Are you still dictating?
I'm talking about me, Mr. Spade.
Oh.
Whom can I turn to? Whom? I grope, I flounder in the darkness, I cry out, I listen in vain for an answer. But there is none.
Well, you always have a better chance of getting an answer when you ask a question.
What do you mean?
What are we talking about?
What indeed?
Well, I haven't caught the show lately. You'll have to bring me up to date. Why don't you run through the announcer's part, will you? Right after the organ when he says, when we left Julia Jukes yesterday...
I'm sorry. I thought I told you on the telephone.
No.
For many days now, I've seen somewhat of a strange new look on my husband's face.
Husband?
Dr. Martin Hawkes.
Oh, you're married. I thought it was Miss Agatha Pilbeam.
2 years ago today, I met young Dr. Hawkes and married him. Good. Life became beautiful, a gay, laughing thing, a road to happiness. And then...
Then?
A cloud passed over the sun. Martin became moody, silent. I tried to penetrate the shell, but he only drew farther into it. A strange, terrifying crevasse seemed to have opened up between us.
Well...
What is it, Martin? I asked him repeatedly. But he'd only stare silently out the window, and finally walked silently from the room.
Well, how long did this go on? How long a series did you get out of it?
For weeks, until a few days ago when the final blow fell. It was evening, and Agatha and Martin were at dinner. Let's look in on them as... Oh, sorry. We were at dinner when the doorbell rang, and I answered it. It was a telegram from Martin. From Mexico. I gave it to him and watched the blood drain from his handsome features as he read it. His hand trembled, his jaw clenched.
But you forced yourself to speak.
Yes. What is it, Martin, I asked. Tell me, please, for the sake of our love.
And he...
Looked down at me as if I were a stranger.
Well.
And then he crumpled the telegram, threw it savagely into the fireplace, and strode silently from the room. Here, I rescued it from the flames. Read it.
Thank you. Regret must confirm your worst fears, Cardoza.
What is the terrible secret of Martin Hawkes?
Yes.
Why did he act so strangely when the mysterious telegram arrived from Mexico? And above all, where is he?
You mean he didn't come back?
He's been gone for 4 days, Mr. Spade. I must find him. Now, of all times, I need his love. When a woman reaches 40...
I know. What do you mean, now of all times?
It's been just a week now since the report came back from the laboratory after my physical examination.
Oh.
The doctor from Vienna. Mm-hmm. You see, Mr. Spade, I, too, have a terrible secret.
Well, don't you want to tell me about it?
Yes. I have a very rare, incurable disease. There are only 6 short weeks to live.
Well, less than an hour after his distressing interview with Agatha, our boy Sammy walked into the beautifully appointed office of young Dr. Hawks at 450 Sutter to find his nurse, pretty young Nora Sheldrake, a new character, working at her desk in the reception room. In response to a question from Sammy, we hear Nora saying,
I have no idea where Martin has gone, Mr. Spade, but I can tell you why.
Tell me, Nora. Please feel free to tell me everything.
It's that woman, Mr. Spade.
Agatha?
Yes, Agatha.
Mm-hmm.
She never understood Martin. She doesn't understand Martin. She never has tried to understand Martin. Do you hear me? She never has tried.
I take it you don't care for Agatha Pilby.
I hate her.
Nora?
I do. I hate her. She thinks her money can buy everything, even Martin. Well, it won't. She knows that now.
Well, calm yourself, Nora. Try and think back now to the last time you saw Martin Hawks.
It was Monday.
4 days ago?
Yes. The call came from some legal firm named Bennett and Hatch.
Now, let me write that down.
I switched the call into Martin. I was worried for him. I was concerned. I have to admit now I did a terrible thing.
You listened in.
I did. They told him his sister was in town, that she was working at some nightclub, and wanted to see him.
What nightclub was this?
Let me see. It was the Tortuga.
Mm-hmm. What else?
That's all. They hung up then, and Martin came out. I watched the blood drain from his handsome features.
His hand trembled, his jaw clenched.
Yes. I'm going out, Nora, he said. If I'm not back, don't worry. That's all. It was so like Martin.
The Tortuga was only a few blocks away on Post Street, so I walked there. We were just tooling up for the dinner trade when I arrived, sailed around backstage like Billy Rose on an inspection tour, found the doorman and showed him the snapshot you'd given me of young Dr. Hawks. Or tried to.
Look, young feller, I told you we don't have no dancer here named Hawks. I ain't got time
for... Doorman, please, take a look at the picture.
No, I ain't got to...
Picture?
Let me see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm?
That fellow was here at that. Tuesday, Monday night it was.
Well, who'd he come to see?
Well, wasn't nobody named Hawks, mister. It was Beth Jardine.
Well, bless you, Doorman, bless you.
Bless you, too.
Thank you. Beth Jardine. Well?
Come in.
Close
the door, will you?
Yeah.
Drafty.
Yeah. Is there anything I can...
There sure is. Zip me up, Jack.
I'm Sam.
I don't care if you're Boris Karloff. You got hands, haven't you?
Well...
Zip me up.
Okay. You say when.
When?
Can you breathe?
Oh, no. You can't have everything. Ouch. What's on your mind, Jack?
Martin Hawks.
Sorry, never heard of him.
Look, we're getting along beautifully up to now, honey. Let's not spoil it. You not only know Martin Hawks, you're his sister.
What makes you think
What's
I
that
know?
card stuck over there in the mirror? Bennett and Hatch, attorneys at law. Aha! The same Bennett and or Hatch who called Martin Monday afternoon and told him his sister wanted to see him here. Now, what's this all about?
I can't tell you.
He got a telegram from Mexico.
Mexico?
Yeah, it upset him. Something awful.
What'd it say?
Regret must confirm your worst fears.
It did, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Great.
Pretty hilarious, huh?
Jack, you just ain't got no idea. I got a piece of advice for you, Jack.
Oh?
Forget about Marty Hawks and live a long and useful life.
Mm-hmm. I got a tip for you, too. You're in a tight spot. Watch that zipper, Jack. One of the heavier soap opera types, Beth was, with a throaty voice and the talent for besmirching reputations. What was the mysterious influence she wielded over young Dr. Hawks? How much did she know about his strange disappearance? What about the cryptic telegram from Mexico City? And what about dinner? The last question I could answer. I stopped at Schroeder's for sauerbraten and potato pancakes, ran into Larry Mahoney of Homicide, who was off duty, and we stopped in at a handy alley and bowled until 11. I was walking back down Market Street when I passed the Flood Building, which reminded me of the firm of Bennett and Hatch, who resided there. As a matter of fact, it looked like they were there right now, since the light was on behind the second-floor window with their name on it. Now, the sensible thing would have been to call around 9 in the morning, but as I seldom do sensible things, I hustled up the stairs and down the corridor to their office. Someone other than Bennett or Hatch had put in some time, obviously. The drawers of a dozen or more file cases had been pulled out and dumped on the floor, the desk drawers likewise. And to mark it clearly as the work of a thoroughgoing professional, the safe door was off its hinges. All this took me back to the Model A parked in front of your house this afternoon, Agatha, and I was contemplating same when... Hello?
Bennett.
Yeah?
Good, Christopher. I was scared you wouldn't be there. Tried to get you at home. Do it, baby, do it. Pull the string. We'll never make it with this guy. We're through. Pull the string here. Do it, baby, do it. Make it...
Hello? Operator! 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 I finally got someone at the Tortuga Club who knew where Beth Jardine lived, an apartment on Russian Hill. I didn't stop to ask which apartment, and when I got there, I found I didn't have to.
All right, stand back, everybody! Stand back!
Dugan!
Oh, hello, Sam.
What happened?
Jane just knocked herself off.
Huh?
Jumped from a room on the 8th floor. Stand back, you yahoos!
There was no need to, but I looked at her anyway, just to make sure. It was Beth, all right. When she said she was through, she meant it. I was just turning to go when something big in a tan camel's hair brushed past me and bent over the body.
Where is she? Where? Beth! Sister! Beth! Beth! Oh!
I recognized him from the snapshot. Wild-haired, with a 4 days' growth of beard on his lean, handsome face. It was Martin Hawks, on the verge of collapse. Officer Dugan and I helped him through the crowd toward the ambulance that had just rolled up, sat him on the running board, and began to question him.
What was that again?
Your name. What's your name?
My name. Of course, my name, I don't know. I don't know my name.
It happens to everyone in soap operas, sooner or later. When he filled out the forms on poor Beth Jardine, old Doc Peterson gave Martin a double O, blew his nose, and announced with a twinkle in his eye,
Appears to me like young Dr. Hawks has got himself a case of amnesia.
Will the mind of young Dr. Hawks come out of the fog? What does he know about the death of Beth? Was it murder? Or suicide? Or both? And what of the mysterious telegram from Mexico City? Will Agatha ever discover the terrible secret of young Dr. Hawks? And will stupid Sam ever discover anything? Before we continue, a word from our announcer.
You are listening to the weekly adventure of radio's most famous detective, Sam Spade. Three chimes mean good times on NBC. Saturday night is date night, but tomorrow poor Dennis Day has trouble with his girlfriend Gloria. However, Dennis manages to sing his way out of trouble in his charming, boyish fashion. And say, why not let Dennis help your Saturday evening along, too? And for more music and fun tomorrow, there's the Judy Canova Show, starring Judy in a melodic and carefree half hour of laughs. And Grand Ole Opry with singing MC Red Foley and his special guest, cowboy troubadour Ernie Tubb. And now back to the soap opera caper, tonight's adventure with Sam Spade. It's a half hour later now, in the sterile whiteness of a hospital room, that the three of us, you, Agatha, I, and old Doc Peterson, gather around the pale, quiet form of young Dr. Hawks.
Martin, speak to me. Martin, darling.
Who are you?
Agatha, dear. Your own Agatha.
Come, Agatha. Better leave him be for now.
Doc, I can't go on. When a woman reaches...
I know. You gotta be strong, Agatha. Sam, we better leave him be for now.
Well, you're the doctor.
Oh, Doc, what could have done this to Martin?
Oh, shock sometimes.
You don't mean...
Yes, I'm afraid I do.
Seeing his sister, then?
Could be. Or sometimes it's just a matter of a body getting into such a fix his mind backs off and refuses to have any part of it.
The wire from Mexico City.
Huh?
His terrible secret. The strange threat hanging over him and his sister. Driving one to suicide. And the other to this.
Well...
No wonder poor Martin gave away before this.
Sure. And there's still another explanation.
How's that, Sam?
That he figured amnesia was a nice, easy way not to have to account for what he's been up to for the last 4 days. Or where he was when the dame took off from the 8th story.
Mr. Spade, you're not accusing Martin.
There's something buzzing around in his little mind. The nurse tells me she got him into a pair of pajamas and tucked him in nice and cozy before we got here.
Well?
Yes, well...
You may not have noticed, Agatha, because he'd pulled the covers up around his neck, but our boy had his clothes back on just now.
What? Martin! Hey, he's gone.
Indeed he was Martin, as we could plainly deduce from the open window and the curtains blowing gently out over the fire escape. Young Dr. Hawks, indeed, had packed up his amnesia, his terrible secret, and his toothbrush, and taken off into the night. So I left you sobbing gently on old Doc's shoulder and found me a phone in a drugstore a safe distance away. On the 48th ring, Bennett of Bennett and Hatch attorneys answered. He was sleepy. I used all my soft answers, and he used all his hard ones, and finally we got to the point.
All right, Spade, all right. The Jardine dame left a sealed envelope with us.
What was in it?
How do I know? It was sealed, marked personal and confidential, to be delivered to the city attorney in the event of my death. Signed Beth Jardine Hawks.
Signed how?
Beth Jardine Hawks.
Not Beth Hawks Jardine.
No. Is it important?
Just a tiresome detail, Bennett. So she brought you the envelope, paid your fee, and you stuck it in the vault for her. Then what?
Well, she had us call her brother and tell him to meet her at the Tortuga. Period. That ended our part of it. We didn't even get our feet wet.
On the contrary, Bennett, you're up to your ears.
In what?
Blackmail. Bye. Which explained many things. To wit, A, the wire from Mexico City from the lawyer named Cardoza. B, the murder of Beth Jardine. And C, the reason for young Dr. Hawks' mysterious flight from the hospital, his mind still fogged with amnesia. It did not, however, explain why stupid Sam had kept Croc Morton's business card in his vest pocket for 21 pages without doing something about it. The address was near 3rd and Howard, not one of the better business sections, even for a private detective. I walked down 3rd Street, past the Sherry and Muscatel joints, looking at numbers, and then discovered it wasn't necessary. The old Model A was pulled up in front of what might have been a respectable office building before the earthquake, but now couldn't decide whether to be a warehouse or a tenement. Thus far, a harmonious picture. But behind the Model A was something twice as long and 3 times as shiny, with a motor running. Out of place by about $4,000. Out kind of late, aren't you, Nora?
Sam!
Nora.
Sam!
Nora. Don't reach for the horn.
But he told me...
Sure, and you believed it, like everything else he told you. Come on, get out.
I will not get out.
Oh, but you will, or I'll pull you out by your pretty blonde hair. Now, come on.
You... Oh!
There, that's it.
You can't do this to me, Mr. Spade. Nothing can stop Martin and me. We have our right to happiness.
Uh-huh. Just the two of you. Chins up, eyes on the horizon. Let the dead past bury its dead.
How can you joke
It's
about...
no joke, believe me. You got taxi fare?
Why?
Because you're going to get in my cab, go home, put your hair up in curlers, and go to bed. After saying to yourself 1,000 times, what a lucky little girl you are that Martin Hawks didn't shove you out a window, too. Now, scoot. Scoot! It was a kind of a dark stairway that made me yearn for the comfortable feel of a shoulder holster under my left arm. At the top was a 3.5-watt bulb, and at the other end of the hallway, a crack of light under Croc's office door. Between the two was a cat, more's the pity. So abandoning my stealthy approach, I walked up to the door, turned the knob, stuck my hand in my side coat pocket like Edward G. Robinson, and kicked the door open. Croc was sitting at his desk behind a stack of bills. The closet door was just closing softly. Who was in the closet? And did he still have his toothbrush, his terrible secret, and his amnesia with him?
Well, Sammy.
Yeah.
You took me up on it right quick, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, have a chair.
I sat on a chair in the corner out of line of the closet door behind the desk.
Oh, Sammy. Yeah, you got a job for me, huh?
Yeah. You don't look like you need a job, Croc.
Huh? Oh, this?
Yeah.
Oh, this is nothing. Good day at the track, that's all. What's on your mind?
Remember the Blennerhassett job?
Huh?
The one with the letters before you went up?
What are you talking about, sir?
The shakedown, Croc. The dame who wanted you to get the letters back. Remember? You know, so you got them for her, delivered and collected after you had the photostats made.
Sam, you're crazy. I never done no such thing.
You can level with me, Croc. You collected on the photostats for 8 years.
Oh, wait, Sam.
Well, forget it. Anyway, I got another one. Dr. Martin Hawks, married to the soap opera queen, you know.
What about it, Sam?
She's worth a couple of $1 million and has 6 weeks to live. As her husband, he's her only heir. Nice spot to be in.
Yeah.
Only he isn't her husband.
Huh?
Because the Mexican divorce from his first wife, the late Beth Jardine Hawks, wasn't legal, you know.
What?
She blew in a month ago and began shaking him down after leaving the marriage certificate and a batch of other papers with some lawyers for life insurance.
Sam, I just ain't interested
When
in
you hear
whether...
the payoff, Croc, it's just like the dame with letters.
Oh, what do you mean?
Hawks hired someone to crack the lawyer's office and get the papers out of the safe. Some smart guy, yeah. An unfrocked private eye who doesn't have a license. I found out where he had the photostats made, though. I can get copies.
Spade, for crying out loud, shut up.
The closet doorknob was turning slowly. I waved him out of the way and picked up the chair. It was all over 2 seconds after it started. The door flew open. He came out with his terrible secret, which turned out to be a gun. And I wrapped the chair right around his head. So I picked up the gun and Croc and young Dr. Hawks, and we all picked up a ride to headquarters. Only one scene remained to be played in today's exciting episode.
I shall try to be brave, Mr. Spade. Sounds like such a cliche now.
Good show, Agatha. Good show. Good show.
Life must go on, you know. Even when a woman...
You were born in 1911, I believe.
Yes. As I say, life must go on, even when a woman reaches...
Indeed it must. Indeed it must. We have our happy moments and our sad ones, our pleasures, our trials, our joys, and our heartbreaks.
And sometimes, Mr. Spade...
Yes?
Sometimes at the bottom of our cup of bitterness, we find a pearl.
We do?
The laboratory test.
A mistake, definitely. They got yours mixed up with someone else's, and you have no incurable disease and many years of happiness ahead of you.
Yes, Mr. Spade. But happiness? I wonder. Can a woman past 40, whose husband is a convicted murderer, find happiness? Alone?
Good show. Period. End of opera.
Oh, say.
Uh-huh.
Sam, I can't wait for tomorrow's episode.
I'll be sure to tune in at this very same time, Cherub, and meanwhile, answer me this.
What, Sam?
How long will it take a woman past 20 to turn out a 25-page report?
Yes, sir. I'll have the answer after a brief word from our announcer.
Three chimes mean good times on NBC. Tomorrow, Arturo Toscanini will conduct the renowned NBC Symphony in the fourth of a Saturday concert series. For tomorrow's one-hour performance, celebrated Maestro Toscanini has chosen works by Debussy, Respighi, and Edward Elgar. You're invited tomorrow to the NBC Symphony and Toscanini.
Oh, dear.
Oh, there There, little girl. No tears now, no tears.
They're tears of gratitude, Sam. When I read all this about other people's troubles, I'm so grateful to you for the smooth life we have together.
Effie.
Sam.
Effie.
Sam.
Effie.
Sam.
That takes about 10 seconds. Go ahead.
I'm only merely a secretary, but...
It's over now. Matter of fact, we're 10 seconds over.
Oh, well, Sam, I haven't even your wife to be versus...
Nothing but peace and quiet.
A fairly regular paycheck.
With only a corpse now and then to produce a ripple on the mirror smoothness of our bliss.
Oh, that's beautiful, Sam.
I thought so.
You don't have a single terrible secret either.
No, but just to keep you interested, dear one, from time to time I shall pick up a piece of paper, read it, let the blood drain slowly from my face, then clasp you to me thusly.
Sam!
Holding you close, and just before striding silently from the room, mutter in your shell-pink ear.
I know. Good night, Sam.
Good night, sweetheart.
The Adventures of Sam Spade are produced, edited, and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade was played by Stephen Dunn. Lorene Tuttle as Effie. Script for tonight's adventure by Harold Swanton. Musical scoring by Lud Gluskin, conducted by Robert Armbruster. Join us again next week, same time, for another adventure with Sam Spade. Join the magnificent Montague and have fun at Duffy's Tavern on NBC. The National Broadcasting Company presents The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective.
Sam Spade Detective Agency.
Me, sweetheart.
Oh, it's you.
What kind of a greeting is that? Oh, it's you.
Well, Sam, I may be only your secretary and all that, but I do have feelings, you know.
What have I done now?
If you'll recall...
Yes?
You were supposed to take me to the Geary Theater last night.
Yeah?
And you never showed up.
Well, Effie,
Oh, I know. You'll make up some big story like you always do. Always an excuse.
No, I'll try to tell you the truth. And then...
The truth. It'll probably be a story about at least 2 or 3 people being killed.
Yeah?
How you had to be there to straighten the whole thing out.
Well, as a matter of fact...
And then there'll be beautiful women with hair like carved smoke and crimson slashes for mouths. You would leave that out.
Now that you mention it, Effie...
And you're throwing shooting and getting knocked out and glass keying your way into houses and anything else you can think of.
Effie...
Well, if you think that I'll fall for that...
Effie, will you please...
What's your big fat story?
You've already told everything about it, but the title, I might as well add that. My big fat story is called The Shot in the Dark Caper.
Transcribed for NBC, William Spear, radio's outstanding producer-director of mystery and crime drama, brings you the greatest private detective of them all in The Adventures of Sam Spade.
Effie?
Yes, Mr. Spade.
Now, Effie, don't be like this. I promise you tonight, right after this report, we'll go to the theater. And we'll have dinner, too. Any place you want. Sound good?
You're the employer.
The faster we do the report, the faster we get out. And I won't even take time out for a drink. So come on, let's go, shall we? You see?
I can't stay mad at you.
Date, fill it in. To Managing Editor, San Francisco Evening Gazette. City, from Samuel Spade, license number 137596. Subject, The Shot in the Dark Caper. Or, Stop the Presses. Spade has his pants caught in them.
Caught?
Dear News Hawk, the next time you have a bright idea about a story, count me out. There's too much work for the money it pays, and the glory just doesn't exist. I don't mind being knocked on the head, shot at, lied to, double-crossed, and otherwise treated cruelly by circumstance, but to do it all in one night, just so you can have a scoop, and then be referred to in your columns as a Gazette staff member, well, my professional pride was severely injured. I am a detective, sir, and nobody's staff member. Well, now that that's off my chest, here in journalistic prose is what happened starting yesterday afternoon.
Sam Spade Detective Agency? Yes, he is. It's for you, Sam.
I'll take it in here, Ed. Spade.
This is Woodrow Wilson.
Really? Well, I'm sorry. I have Teddy Roosevelt on the other phone. It might take some time. You better try me later. Bye.
Spade.
Huh?
Somehow I thought you were above that sort of corny repartee.
I am above nothing, sir, as long as it's ethical. Now, which Woodrow Wilson is this?
I'm the new managing editor of the Evening Gazette.
Well, welcome to town. What can I do for you?
I have a job you might like, an interesting job and interesting money.
How interesting?
If you find out what I want, you can almost name your own price. Can you get over here in 3 minutes?
With any sort of a tailwind, I'll make it in 2. A new track record.
Take a seat, Spade.
Now, what is this interesting job?
First, let me say I don't know much about you personally, but you come well recommended.
I've tried.
Second, this is a confidential matter, and I want it to remain that way.
Of course.
I'm going to trust you as I would one of my own staff members. The police aren't to find out about it until it's all over. And if any other newspaper gets it, you might as well leave town.
Woody, old boy, the man doesn't live who can say I ever double-crossed him. For money or love or anything else.
I
or
had
love...
to say it so we'd understand each other. Now, take a look at this news photo.
Yes?
One of our boys snapped it. What do you see?
A street intersection. O'Farrell, I'd say. 2 automobiles hit head-on. An ambulance, a couple of people injured, a sordid crowd.
We took that picture 3 days ago, Tuesday night, routine accident picture. But this morning, when we were filing it, I looked at it again, and I noticed something startling. Look at it. It's a shot in the dark, but I smell a story.
Well, maybe I have a cold, but whatever it is escapes me.
On the right side of the picture is an apartment house. Now count up 6 floors and look at the 4th window across to the left. Here, use this magnifying glass.
Oh, what do you know? Somebody just fired off a gun.
That's it. All you can see is a hand and a smoking gun. You can't even tell whether the hand's male or female. But somebody shot at something, probably a person, just a second before that picture was taken.
You want me to find out why, huh?
This calls for a detective, not a reporter. There hasn't been a single homicide, suicide, or gunshot wound reported in the city since that happened. Now, I want the story. Get it.
Okay, Chief. Get ready to rip out page 1. The apartment house was the Greystone. It was actually an apartment hotel and a little shabby. I entered an hour later with a suitcase and an out-of-town look. The nameplates on the mailboxes showed about 5 vacancies, including one on the 6th floor. I rang the manager's door buzzer.
Good afternoon.
I'd like to rent an apartment if I could.
Come in. Just drop your suitcase anyplace. My name's Ed Barry.
How are you?
Your suitcase is leaking.
Oh?
We charge one price, $175 per night.
Well, I don't have that kind of cash with me or my checkbook. Could I pay you tomorrow?
Oh, sure thing. Your name?
Mark Humboldt.
Mark Humboldt. B-O-L-T?
Yes, that's it.
Where you from, Mr. Humboldt?
New York, boy, New York. 48 East 51st Street.
Near Broadway. Next to kin?
Huh?
Any family, relatives?
No.
Oh, you own a car?
Look, I'm just renting an apartment, not taking out life insurance.
Well, you see, there's a state law here requires us to get this sort of information. I'm sorry, but there's nothing I can do.
No car.
A bank account?
Corn Exchange Bank.
You own any property?
Yes, I do. Albany, New York.
Just how much, would you say?
6 feet in a cemetery. I expect to be buried there.
Yeah, well, I guess that about takes care of it.
Anything on the 6th floor?
Well, why the 6th particularly?
My lucky number.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. Maybe later. Right now, we got nothing on the 6th. Come on, I'll show you around.
In a few minutes, I was ensconced in room 512. As he stood in the doorway, Ed Baring, the manager, scanned my luggage, my clothes, my ring and wristwatch, as if he were trying to estimate what he could get for me from a fence. After he went back to his apartment, I took a stroll up to the 6th floor. Woody Wilson and I figured the gun incident took place in apartment 608. So I counted back from the end of the corridor and found we were right. 608 was silent. I knocked, but no one answered. So I sprung the lock and went in. The place was absolutely empty. No furniture, no nothing. In fact, it was being completely remodeled.
It's gonna look swell when they finish, huh?
Huh?
I said it's gonna look swell.
Well, where did you come from?
Oh, gee. I guess maybe I startled you, huh?
A little.
I was just coming down the hall, taking some of these groceries in, and I saw you standing there. You're new here, huh? Huh?
Yeah. Here, let me carry some of those things.
Oh, say thanks. You're the kind of man a girl should have around.
Well, I've tried to convince several of that.
Oh, who are you kidding? A big, handsome guy like you wouldn't have any trouble getting a girl?
Well...
At least not if I was the girl.
Well, you know best.
My place is down here. Shall we go?
No, why not?
My name's Honey Kane. What's yours?
Mark Humboldt.
Gee, what a fascinating name.
Oh, not half as fascinating as yours.
Really?
Mm.
Say, isn't it wonderful how fate just throws two people together?
The bags of groceries we were carrying had a layer of dust on them, and the bags looked as if they'd made 50 trips to the grocery store. No one had to hit me on the head. Sam Spade, detective. She was small in peroxide, and if you like 'em stupid, small in peroxide. She lived in apartment 620 with a roommate who was quite a bit different. Prettier, smarter, and quieter.
Sandra, I want you to meet this very nice gentleman, Mr. Mark Humberg.
Both.
Oh, sure, I remember the Mark part, but this is Sandra Lynn.
How do you do, Miss Lynn?
Hello.
Yes, well, nice day.
Great.
Well,
Just put the groceries down here, huh?
oh.
There. Now, let's have some fun. Like fun, Mr. Humboldt?
Wouldn't be without it.
You're priceless. Well, come on, let's start with a drink. How about you, Sandra?
No, you kids have your fun. I'm going out for a walk.
Mr. Humboldt, you're supposed to be looking at me.
An hour later, under the pretext of going out for some snuff, I shook her off and left. The next half hour went to giving the apartment house a thorough casing. I looked at all the names on the mailboxes, and the only one that rang a bell was one Max Barstow, a former heavyweight who never got past club fighting. I inquired about him of charming Ed Bering, the manager.
Max Barstow?
Yeah, I tried his apartment. He isn't home.
Yeah, well, you see, he won't be home for some time. You see, he took a vacation. Went to visit his family in Portland.
Well, when did he leave?
Last Tuesday night. I remember him saying, Ed, I won't be back for a while. Look after things, will you?
Well, you have a good memory.
Yeah.
Hey, can you tell me something about those two girls in 620?
Why?
One of them made a pass at me.
Well, mister, I feel this way. I rent apartments to responsible adults. What they do is their business. You won't get any trouble from me.
Now, that isn't what I asked. I always like to be sure. Now, are they honest, hard-working girls?
I don't know nothing about them, but let me tell you something confidential, mister. Why look a gift horse in the mouth?
Well, I gumshoed around the apartment house some more, and one thing was sure. They were making a number of extensive alterations. For example, in the basement, there was a new cement floor. Said cement floor had been laid, I was told by the janitor, Wednesday morning. The morning after a gun was fired in 608. The same morning on which Max Barstow suddenly left to visit his parents. And about here in the plot, it was dramatically correct to wonder if Max might be sleeping under the furnace with a new cement overcoat covering him. I went back to my apartment for a couple of long ones and some thought. It was getting along about supper time when there was a feminine knock. I guessed it to be Miss Room Service herself, Honey Kane. But no. Better. Much better.
May I come in?
You may. Shall I leave the door open?
I'd rather you closed it.
Anything to make you feel at home. Drink?
No, talk.
Oh.
What are you doing here, Sam?
The name's Humboldt, Mark Humboldt.
All right, play it any way you want. But I've seen you around. I know who you are. You move in today, and half hour later you find our apartment. Why?
Your apartment found me. At least half of it did. The gift horse part.
Maybe so, but I figure you helped a little somewhere.
Hmm.
What are you trying to get on us?
Nothing. I just moved in here for a place to live.
With one suitcase and a bottle?
Oh, I'm an actor.
Look, whatever it is, lay off, will you? I've had enough trouble in my life. Things are just starting to go right.
Sandra, I don't know what's on your mind, but as far as I'm concerned, you're clean.
All right. Maybe I made a mistake. I'll try to make it up to you sometime.
Well, maybe you can start right now.
I think I'll open the door again.
Just a question. Seen anything of Max Barstow lately?
I knew it was something. I knew it. No, I haven't seen Max Barstow lately. He went somewhere to visit his family, and I'm telling you, either leave me alone or something's going to happen to you. You won't write.
She stormed out looking lovely all the way, and I sat very quietly for a minute. It was the second time somebody said it. Max Barstow was visiting his family. That was very interesting because, you see, Max Barstow didn't have any family. When he first started fighting, he was under the aegis of the St. John's Orphanage. So, what was all this rehearsed account of his absence? I watched at the window to see if Sandra Lynn went anywhere, and she appeared on the street. I was out of the room and down the stairs, presto. 10 blocks later, she turned in at a brownstone on Polk Street, went in the first apartment on the first floor. 15 minutes later, she hurried out, and I went up to the apartment and knocked.
The door opened cautiously.
Yes, what is it you want?
Is Mr. Fairchild in?
Nobody here by that name. You got wrong address.
Now, just a minute. He used to live here.
No more he does.
Well, could you tell me where I could find him, Mr.
Sigmund Polkus. I don't know. Try the manager.
On the way out, I looked at the card on his door buzzer. It listed his apartment as belonging to a Mr. Rothschild. At the moment, there was nothing to be made out of it, so I went back to the Greystone. And when I got to my room, it was very obvious that I'd been visited during my absence.
Yeah? Oh, it's you.
What happened to my suitcase?
I'm sorry, Mr. Humble, but I didn't realize it before. You see, that apartment was already rented, so I guess you'll have to find one someplace else.
Look, you have 4 other vacant ones in this apartment house. Give me one of those.
Sorry, no vacancy.
Well, then give me my suitcase.
Yeah, that's the one that leaks. Just a minute, I'll bring it out, Mr. Humble.
I'll go in and get it myself, Mr. Barry.
I said stay out.
I said I'll go in and get it.
Right, you will.
He swung at me, I blocked, and stepped into him. He gave way, and I followed in. And then as I moved into the apartment, someone stepped out from behind the door. I turned, but it was too late. I was sandbagged, and the face behind the arm that swung it looked an awful lot like that of Max Barstow. I remember asking myself as I went down, if Max Barstow wasn't shot in room 608, who was?
You are listening to the weekly adventure of radio's most famous detective, Sam Spade. Three chimes mean good times on NBC. On Sunday, March 4th, that's 1 week from this Sunday, Theater Guild on the Air will present radio's most exciting dramatic event. It's a full hour-and-a-half presentation of Shakespeare's immortal Hamlet. John Gielgud will portray Hamlet, Pamela Brown, the Queen, and Dorothy McGuire will appear as Ophelia. The intrigue, beauty, and romance of Hamlet come to life Sunday, March 4th, on Theater Guild on the Air. And now back to The Shot in the Dark caper, tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
I wasn't out for long, but it was long enough to have been carried out of the apartment manager's place and dumped in an alley. I sat up and rubbed the back of my head and discovered the boys had a sense of humor. Pinned on my chest was a note that said, "Beat it." This time, when I went back, I had my gun handy to hand. Nobody was home at Mr. Baring's apartment, so for something to do, I looked in on Max Barstow's diggings, 413. I glass keyed in and turned on the lights. And a search revealed items, a rent receipt showing Max was paid up for 2 months and intended to stay put. But more interesting were 2 phony detective badges, a policeman's uniform, and a flash camera. Couple these with a dossier on a man named Sigmund Polkus, and I knew just what Max had been doing since the fight game stopped paying his bills. It read, Sigmund Polkus, 60 years old, Minneapolis. Just sold 2 restaurants for $175,000. Intends to retire and settle down in San Francisco. That's as far as I got when Honey poured herself on me again.
Oh, Mr. Humboldt.
Yeah.
What are you doing in Mr. Barstow's apartment?
Come in.
Thanks. You shouldn't be here. Mr. Barstow ever found out.
Honey, you can drop the act.
Thanks.
You know who I am, and I know who you are. You're part of the bait for one of the oldest rackets in the world.
World?
The Badger game.
Who, me?
You.
All right, Sam. I didn't know who you were at first until Sandra told me. Now, you tell me, what are you doing in Max's room?
A number of things. First of all, getting enough evidence on him to give him a free vacation on the state. Second, I wanted to see who would show up and why. Now, what's your story?
I just dropped in to see if Max was here.
Try again.
Sam, if I tell you anything, will you leave me alone?
If I can bear it.
I came over to get some things from Max. You know.
Where's he staying?
Right across the street in the Arlington, 314.
Mm-hmm.
Ed Baring manages both apartment houses.
Why doesn't Max stay here?
Who are you working for, Sam? I'm just asking.
A client.
Not the police?
No.
Sam, I don't have a thing to do with the mark Max is working on now.
Sigmund Polkus.
Some old man.
Did you hear any shooting here last Tuesday night in apartment 608?
Oh, Sam, I didn't hear a thing. Not a single thing.
All right, get whatever you came for, but remember this. You tell Max I was here, and I'll tie you into something that'll get you to Tehachapi if it's the last thing I do.
Oh, sure.
I knew she'd be impressed with that type of threat because her kind of girl lives by playing tag with the law. They want to be it as seldom as possible. I finished the dossier on Pocus and thought a more businesslike visit to the old man was in order.
What is it? Oh, you.
I want to talk with you, Mr. Pocus.
Come in. I want to talk to you.
Now.
Now, stand right where you are.
He was pointing a gun in one shaking hand right at my chest. And as close as I could tell, it looked very much like the gun I'd seen in your picture, Wilson. And the hand that held it was the very same hand. I tried to think of something clever to say.
At this stage of my life, it would be very easy to shoot you, mister.
Look, I came here maybe to help save you a lot of trouble. Now, if you listen to me,
I know why you came here, because I killed Max Barstow. I'll give you a choice. Will you take money or will I shoot you right here?
I'd take the money, but you didn't kill Max Barstow.
Don't tell me what I did when I know what I did. Sandra told me one of his gang members was looking for me. But she doesn't understand the power of money. How much will you take to leave us alone to our happiness? What is Max Barstow to you now that he's dead?
Look, I don't want any money. I just want it. I felt like a ghost. The gun was pointed directly at me, but nothing hit me. I was surprised, albeit gratified. The little man must have thought I was wearing a bulletproof vest. He didn't look surprised, though. He just folded. I disarmed him and pushed him down into a chair.
I had to do it. I had to. I couldn't let you spoil the only bit of happiness I had left in my life.
Mr. Pocus, you tried to shoot me, and I'm grateful. It told both of us something. To begin with, you can't kill anybody with blanks in your gun.
Blanks? I don't know blanks.
Where did you get the gun?
I always have guns.
Always? And you don't know the difference between real bullets and blanks? You got it from Sandra, and she loaded it, right?
Maybe you should know, gangster.
Look, I'm a private detective. Name is Sam Spade. Now, if you'll help me, I'll help you. When did Sandra give you this gun? Last Tuesday?
Yes.
Did you use it to shoot Barstow?
Yes.
Then he couldn't be dead, could he? This gun wouldn't kill a fly, and besides, I met Max Barstow tonight, alive.
I saw him fall to the floor, and blood came out of his coat with my own eyes.
Mr. Pocus, you just came from Minneapolis with $175,000. You walked into a shakedown gang. They're after your money. That girl Sandra's just bait.
Don't speak about Sandra that way. Sure, she tried to shake me up for money, but only because that man, that Barstow maker. She was a slave. She couldn't get away from him.
Why did she stage a phony murder with you killing Barstow?
Oh, I don't know. I'm so confused.
Tell me how it happened.
Oh, Barstow posed as a policeman. He found me in Sandra's apartment. I was supposed to pay him $5,000, but Sandra told me she loved me, and Barstow was a racketeer. We were to meet in apartment 608 to pay him. She gave me a gun to frighten him with, but instead I killed.
Nuts, $5,000. They knew how much money you had, and they wanted to get all of it away from you on a phony murder scare.
Sandra doesn't want my money away from me. She loves me.
Mr. Pocus, I'm sorry disillusionment should come to you so late in life. But...
I say she loved me, and I can prove it.
How?
This morning, she became Mrs. Sigmund Pocus.
That made me sit down and think things through a little more carefully. She could have gotten his money, or most of it, without marrying him. Maybe she did love him. Or maybe they felt he was too dumb to pay off. Or maybe she married him so she could murder him. And maybe a dozen other things. His suitcases were packed, and he said that he and Sandra planned to leave town tonight. He'd been waiting for her when I came in, but she was already 2 hours late. I could think of only one place she could be. So I left poor Mr. Pocus and went to the Arlington. 314, the address Honey Kane had given me. And she was there.
Oh, Sam, I'm glad you came. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I'm scared.
Now, honey, quiet down and tell me what you're scared about.
In the bedroom, Max, he's dead.
A knife job. When'd you find him?
5 minutes ago. I was with him before, and then I went out for some Chinese food when I came back.
All right. Who else was here tonight?
I didn't see anybody,
But what?
he was awful mad at Sandra. Said she was double-crossing him, and he wouldn't let her get away with it.
I went back to Pocus's place. He was gone, but his bags were still there, so I figured he'd be back. I put out the lights and sat in a chair. Go ahead. Ask me what I'm doing here.
Where's Pocus?
Well, if he's smart, he's on a train back to Minneapolis.
I'm going to look for him.
You're not going anywhere. Sit down.
Oh, yes, I am.
I said you're not going anywhere unless it's to jail.
What are you playing the sadistic attorney for?
Because you killed Max Barstow. Now tell me why.
Oh, don't be a joker. Max Barstow's as live as you are.
I'm not talking about the phony murder staged for the benefit of Polkus. Barstow was stabbed to death a half hour ago.
He wasn't.
He was. I saw him.
Who?
You.
Oh, Sam, I didn't. I saw him earlier today, but he was all right.
You married Polkus to double-cross him, didn't you? You were going to skip town with him, Mark.
Well, sure I was, so why would I kill Max?
Because he knew what you were going to do, that's why.
I tell you, I didn't. I couldn't kill anybody.
What did you have planned for Polkus? A shove over to the Grand Canyon?
No, I love the old guy.
Come on, we'll drop in at police headquarters.
No, Sam. No. Sam.
Nothing. I wouldn't take you with a U.S. mint thrown in.
Will you let me go if I tell you what happened? If I tell you who killed Barstow?
Well, if you didn't do it, nobody could hold you. For murder, anyway.
Bering. Ed Bering did it. We planned the whole thing together. It was a freeze-out on Barstow. Somehow he found out Ed had to take care of him. I didn't have anything to do with it. I tried to tell him not to.
Tried to tell him not to what?
Ed.
I've got a gun in my hand, Bering.
So have I. Which one of us is going to shoot first?
You wouldn't shoot. But he did. Period. End of report.
Sam, is that all?
Well, what do you want? An echo?
No. But he shot you and you're all right.
Mm-hmm.
Were they blanks like the other guns?
They were not. They were genuine steel-jacketed bullets.
But,
You didn't listen carefully enough, Effie. I figured he'd shoot right away. He did, once. Just as I jumped sideways and fired 2 shots back.
Did you kill him?
No, but he's down with a little case of lead poisoning, though, under police guard.
You're wonderful.
It's true. All right, go type it up. Off with him.
Three chimes mean good times on NBC. Tomorrow, you're invited to a 1-hour concert by the renowned NBC Symphony under the direction of Bruno Walter. Featured soloist for tomorrow's performance is celebrated violinist Joseph Szigeti, who will be heard in Mozart's brilliant concerto for violin and orchestra. It's the very finest in musical listening, every Saturday with the NBC Symphony.
Here it is, Sam, but there's something I don't understand.
To wit.
Well, what happened to nice old Mr. Polkus? Why wasn't he in his apartment waiting for Sandra?
Well, he did just what I thought he should have done. He walked down to the railroad depot and got on the first train for Minneapolis. Who knows? Maybe he's opened a new restaurant.
Yes. And, what happened to Sandra?
Well, she's being held as an accessory to murder, among other things.
Well, if they were married...
That's enough, Effie. That's enough. Do you want me to make everything so simple that everybody will be able to figure it out?
No, but
But you what?
I get so confused sometimes.
That's most of your charm, Effie. You know, if you were brisk and efficient and cold, we'd never have any fun, would we?
I guess not, Sam. We do have a good time at times, don't we?
Yes, we do indeed. Like right now. Come here.
Oh,
Fire in a man's veins. Maddening, that's what.
don't say any more, Sam. I don't know what I might do.
I'd love it, whatever it was.
I better say good night, Sam. Good night, Sam.
Good night, sweetheart.
Tonight's transcribed adventure of Sam Spade was produced, edited, and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade was played by Stephen Dunn. Lorene Tuttle is Effie. Script for tonight's adventure by John Michael Hayes. Musical scoring by Lud Gluskin, conducted by Robert Armbruster. Join us again next week, same time, for another adventure with Sam Spade. Sam Spade lives a life of peril. Well, in these days, we all live in a time of peril. Each of us is contributing something to help meet the emergencies that we face as a nation. There's one definite thing that every one of us can do to help. February 28th is being celebrated as Red Cross Day. Supported by the people and schooled by years of experience in war and peace in times of disaster, The Red Cross has now been assigned unprecedented tasks in the interest of national security and world peace. You can help mobilize the forces of mercy for the protection and defense of your family, your community, and the nation through generous support of the 1951 Red Cross Fund campaign. Join the magnificent Montague, then it's Duffy's Tavern on NBC.
The National Broadcasting Company presents The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective.
Sam Spade Detective Agency.
Buono, buono.
I beg your pardon?
Suonate il campanello.
Sam, what are you...
Nothing at all, sweetheart. I just happen to have the tourist lists of handy Italian phrases before me.
North Beach never did that to you before, Sam.
North Beach never did anybody like it. Just did me, F.
But I thought you said old Bartolomeo just wanted you to drop by for a friendly talk.
And some garlic bread and red wine. But does that explain the knife gash on my coat?
Your new tweed?
My old tweed now, Cherub. You see, it was never meant to be swum in.
The bay?
Yes.
Not again.
What else? By now, your keen feminine instinct should tell you this is not the social call, Wonder Girl. As a matter of fact, I plan to drop by presto presto with words anent a little something I call View of Fisherman's Wharf from the Water, or the Crab Louie Caper.
Transcribed for NBC, William Spear, radio's outstanding producer, director of mystery and crime drama, brings you the greatest private detective of them all in The Adventures of Sam Spade.
Zing, zing, zing-a-ding, ding, 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 ding.
Buongiorno, Sam.
Well, ballooning up, huh?
Let me see now. Oh, Desidero un carburatore per la carrozzella.
Great. What's it mean?
I found my secretary's list of most used Italian phrases, Sam. It means, I want a carburetor for my voiturette.
I'll remember that. Shall we proceed with the business at hand?
Ready, Sam.
Date, fill it in. To Bartolomeo Maggiore. Copy to Lieutenant Rossi, North Beach Division, from Samuel Spade, license number 1375596. Subject, the Crab Louie Caper. Dear Bartolomeo, Fisherman's Wharf, as you know, is as changeable as an Italian wench. All smiles and laughter of a Saturday night with the lights blazing in the Cioppino palazzas and the tourists 3 deep around the steaming cauldrons outside. But it's something else again of an early dawn. Dark and lonely and quiet, except for the mutter of engines as the crab boats nose out into the fog that hang over the gate. Last night was somewhere in between. The lights were blinking out as I left my cab and walked over to your place of business, a gaudily painted building at the foot of the wharf with a red, yellow, and blue sign reading Museo Maggiore. Curios, souvenirs, waxworks. Admission 10 cents.
Who is it?
I'm Sam Spade. Bartolomeo called me.
He isn't here. Fasci's grotto at the end of the wharf.
Thanks. Look, is there anything I can... Sorry. Except for Frasky's at the very end, the wharf was dark now. It seemed early, as if something had interfered with business as usual, and the late customers had been brushed off a couple hours ahead of time. I peeked through a hole in one of Frasky's window shades and saw why. It looked like the entire population of North Beach was inside.
If everyone is ready...
Un momento. Who's this?
Me?
Yes, you. What do you want?
I'm Sam Spade. Bartolomeo Maggiore sent for me.
Bartolomeo. Conoscete il signor Spade?
Ah, sì. Obrigatissimo, Vasquez. Ah, there, Mr. Spade. You are wondering why you are here?
Well, as a matter of fact, I am, Bartolomeo. I thought that...
I know. It's about my son, Louie. My son, my only son.
Oh, he's inside?
No, not inside. Out in the darkness somewhere. Cold and alone.
You mean he...
See, 6 days now they have searched for his body.
Oh, well, when did it happen?
1 week today.
Crab boat?
His boat, the San Felipe.
Was he alone when it happened?
You detectives, you strike the point. My Louie, always he fish alone. Until this time.
Who went out with him?
Dominic Torrio, his friend, Dominic. This gathering is assembled in Dominic's honor, you see.
You mean a hearing or something?
Something more than that. Come. Listen to them.
I'm a sick! In my belly, I'm a sick! This opera buffo! Faster, you should sell it a ticket!
Keep your temper, Aldo. State facts.
Facts, huh? All right, fact. 6 years, Louie fished the crab alone. Each day he's a layover, close the breaker line, and string the pot. Each day he's bringing the San Felipe home, hokey-dokey. That's right, everybody. Sure. Until one fine day, Dominic hit the go with Louie to help.
Aldo, we must deal in facts.
Dominic is suspended. Back in the truth. He's a kill Louie. Sure, he's a kill Louie. And you know why? Because he's a want Rosalia. That's why.
See how it is.
Who's Rosalia?
You must have seen her at the museo.
Crying?
Yes, with reason. Next week, she and my Louie were to be married.
It's tough. You think this Dominic was in love with her, maybe?
I think nothing, senor. 2 men, friends, alone in a boat in a heavy fog. One of them dies. The other says it is an accident. It is not for us to think or make guesses.
Say, what am I supposed to do?
In the records of the police, senor, my Louis died in an accident. In the hearts of his friends, he was murdered. For my sake, for Dominic's, for the sake of us all, we must know the truth. For this, I prefer to employ one who is professional and impartial. Come. We go in.
I don't believe it, senor. Believe me, before heaven, I mean it.
Silencio. Once again, Dominic. How far was the boat from Seal Rocks?
100 yards, I think. I heard the break.
Silencio. Let Dominic tell the story. Go on now. You had dropped the last crab pot over the side. Then?
Something went wrong with the motor. Louie told me to look at it. I went below, then it happened. Louie was leaning over the gunwale. We untangled a float, and the sea took us by the stern. We broached. I saw him go over and plunge into the white water. I brought the boat about then. For 2 hours, I yelled, I circled around, I blew the whistle, everything. Then the Coast Guard came. Fosky, I swear it, that's all I know. I never saw Louie after that.
Silencio! My brothers, it was your will that I sit here in judgment of Dominic Torrio. Before I go on, are there any more questions you have to ask him? Are there any among you who have evidence to offer against him? So be it. You know as well as I, there is only one verdict here. The charge is dismissed. The court is adjourned.
Everyone was still for a second, like a big tableau. Fosky, white-haired and dignified on the platform, looking down at Dominic, and the rest of them all on their feet now, boring holes through him with their eyes. He was the first to move, turning slowly, walking out through the crowd toward the door, looking tentatively from face to face, knowing now he hadn't been acquitted at all, as one by one they turned their backs on him. I felt terribly sorry for Dominic, until he walked past me and I got a look at his face, at his eyes. In my racket, I see that look more often than the next guy. I never saw it any clearer than I did now. It was fear and hatred and guilt. So I left you talking to Fosky, Bartolomeo, and walked back down to the wharf to the museo. Rosalia.
I told you Bartolomeo is not here.
I've seen Bartolomeo. I want to talk to you. Sit down.
I don't want to...
Sit down.
Oh.
That's a good girl. It was quite a place, the museo, a catch-all for everything nautical you'd run across in 60-odd years of living on the sea or next to it. From a 10-foot shark pickled in formaldehyde to a life-size figure of Captain Kidd, complete with drawn sword, lace cuffs, and treasure chest at his feet next to the door. I turned back to Rosalia, sitting on a rum keg under a flickering hurricane lamp, the only light in the room.
What do you want of me?
Bartolomeo wants the truth about what happened on the San Felipe.
They're deciding that at the meeting.
They already did.
They did? You mean Dominic... How did they decide?
Dismiss the charges. No evidence, no witnesses. It was the only thing Fosky could do. You feel better?
It doesn't bring back my Louie.
No, it doesn't. Dominic's going free now from both the law and his people. No vengeance for Louie. Why were you crying when I came by tonight?
Haven't I the right to cry with my Louie?
Drop it.
Huh?
Why didn't you go to the meeting? Afraid to give yourself away?
I didn't feel like it, that's all.
You're a Sicilian, Rosalia. Vengeance is pretty important to you. If you'd loved Louie, you'd have been in there screaming for Dominick's scalp.
You shut your mouth.
But no, you sat home crying, not for Louie, but for Dominick, right? How long had it been going on? Did you know Dominick was going to kill him when they put out in the San Felipe?
Why would Dominic kill him?
Well, that's a stupid question. He's in love with you.
In love with me. In love with me.
Drop it. Drop it, Rosalia.
In love with me? Oh, I wish it were so.
Huh?
He killed for me. Is that what they say? It's all very flattering, very. I love Dominic. I've always loved Dominic since I was a little girl. I threw myself at Dominic, and I begged him to marry me. That's not easy for a girl to do, Mr. Spade. I begged him, and I promised to work for him, to be his slave. You know what he did? He laughed and he spit upon me. And you stand there and you tell me that he murdered for the love of me. You wouldn't walk across the street.
All right. Take it easy now. Come on, take it easy.
So I do the silly woman thing. I promise myself to Louie. To crazy Louie, to a madman.
Crazy?
You don't believe that, huh? Louie the Great, il campione, a champion of the crab fishermen, who dares to fish right on the breaker line, catches more crab than anyone else. Louie the Fearless. Do you know why he's fearless? He's too crazy to be afraid.
What do you mean?
He mutters. He talks to himself of great riches, of thousands of dollars, of him and me. Louie the crab fisherman and me, living in the finest house in North Beach.
When was this?
Last week. He went up in Bartolomeo's attic one night, and he came down with a big hunk of his raw wax from the waxworks. A tresor, he called it. A stupid lump of wax. And he held it up before me, so. And he says with a mad gleam in his eye, "From this, Rosalia, from this I will carve for us the biggest, finest house you can dream of. Here, look."
What's Captain Kidd got to do with it?
He puts it in the treasure chest. See? You will keep this a secret, Rosalia, he says, if you love me. And he laughs again like a madman. Me love Louie Maggiore? I hated him.
Too good to be phony. The triangle notion had to go. You could hardly blame Rosalia for thinking he was crazy. And the treasure chest was a hunk of tallow. Not a very fresh hunk at that. And Louie's routine with it must have hit her like the graveyard scene from Hamlet. Therefore, having no theory, nor evidence, nor witnesses, I also had no motive. As always in situations like this, I did the sensible thing. I went home and went to bed. Or I thought I went to bed. Hello?
Spade?
Yeah.
I got a tip for you.
Oh?
Find yourself a nice, dirty divorce case somewhere and stay out of North Beach.
Well, this almost sounds like a threat.
Call it advice. There's $100 in the mail for you. You'll get it this morning.
Plus a bribe?
A gift.
Can I keep it if I don't play?
If you don't play, you won't need it.
I suppose it's useless to ask who this is.
Louie Maggiore.
Say that again?
Louie Maggiore. Shall I spell it?
You might explain it.
You talk to Rosalia. Figure it out for yourself.
Sure. So she never loved you, and you knew it. So you go over the side when the Comer hits, swim ashore, then discover they think you're dead and decide to leave it that way rather than go through with a wedding.
You got it.
I got more. So life without Rosalia in North Beach is impossible. You can't face the shame and loose talk that goes with a busted wedding. So you're going over the hill and find a new life for yourself.
Wait a minute, Spade.
Oh, there's more. So you're tossing over a car, a bank account, a boat worth $7,000. Walking out on your old man, to say nothing of 3 years apprenticeship and 6 years of hard work to get where you are. I understand perfectly. And you're being a little insulting. I make a lot of my dough with my big flat feet, but I do make some of it with my head. Now try again.
You don't believe I'm Louie Maggiore?
That is the general idea. And it might surprise you to know that 5 minutes ago I was ready to chuck the whole antipasto. Now I'm back in with both feet. What's with the music box?
Nothing. Tell me, would you know Louie if you saw him?
I've seen his picture.
Fine. I guess I'll have to prove it to you. If I satisfy you I'm Louie Maggiore, will you stay home?
Scout's honor. Now, where do we prove it?
You know Castellani's grotto?
Halfway out in the wharf, yeah.
There's a ramp running around behind it. I'll see you there in a half hour.
I know just what you're going to say, Bartolomeo, but I didn't go alone. Roscoe was right there with me, with his safety off. It was the kind of spog San Francisco puts on once a year for the tourists. Just to nail down its position as runner-up to London. I had to feel my way along the row of dark chowder houses to Castellani's. Except for the foghorn and the lapping of the water below, there wasn't a sound. The only cheerful thing in the picture was Roscoe, who was now out of my pocket at the ready. I eased up to the corner of Castellani's. There was an alley between it and the next building, leading around on the ramp over the water.
Spade?
I could see the glow of his cigarette first. Then I made him out in a slouch hat and overcoat. He was standing at the rail.
Spade?
Right here.
Well, you satisfied now?
I'll let you know. I moved out from the side of the building and walked toward him. He must have known about Roscoe because he didn't move, just let me come right up next to him. I was stupid, sure, but it wouldn't have worked for him except for the fog. 2 feet away, I saw what I thought was Louie. It was a booby trap. The hat and overcoat were slung over a piling with a burning cigarette on the rail next to one of the sleeves. I rolled to one side just in time. The knife slashed through the padding on my left shoulder, and he was on me. Roscoe went in the drink, and I took on the arm with a knife with my 2 hands and 32 teeth. Unhappily, overlooking a spare foot, he knew what to do with. I went through the railing like in a silent version of the sea wolf, arriving thus in the limpid and soothing waters of San Francisco Bay. At the moment, I was not sorry.
To the weekly adventure of radio's most famous detective, Sam Spade. Three chimes mean good times on NBC. Sunday, Theater Guild on the Air presents one of the greatest dramatic undertakings in the history of radio. It's a full hour-and-a-half adaptation of Shakespeare's masterpiece, Hamlet. The immortal lines and matchless beauty of Hamlet come to life Sunday with John Gielgud, Dorothy McGuire, and Pamela Brown in Theater Guild on the Air. And a reminder, this Sunday also means another gala broadcast of The Big Show. And now back to the Crab Louie caper, tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
Wetting my finger and holding it up in the wind, I quickly determined where north was, and just as quickly decided there was no percentage in swimming the Golden Gate. A bright blur on my starboard bow called to mind the old saying, where there's a light, there's life, so I headed there. 3 strokes this side of exhaustion, I pulled up at what proved to be a landing with a Jacob's ladder, at the top of which I found the rear entrance to Foske's, or more accurately, Foske's private office. The door was open.
Huh? Oh.
I'm Sam Spade. I've been swimming, if you're wondering.
Bartolomeo told me about you. He didn't say you were crazy.
Well, maybe he didn't know. You wouldn't have a brandy lying around loose, would you?
Well, sure. Sit down.
Thanks. I think I saw Louie tonight.
Louie? Impossible. Where?
Behind Castellani's.
Yeah.
Bless you, Fosque. Oh, hit me again, will you?
Yeah, but what about Louie?
Called me up, said he'd meet me there. Just tried to knife me.
Oh, but it's impossible.
Is it?
Why would he play dead? And why would he try to kill you?
Maybe he's crazy.
Well, how do you mean?
You've heard of the dear old lady who had the trunk full of pancakes, haven't you?
Hmm?
Louis saves old tallow. Captain Kidd's treasure chest at the Museo is full of it.
Who told you this?
Rosalia showed it to me. May I?
Help yourself.
Thanks. Might be a good idea to call another meeting and tell the people. Make it easier for Dominic.
Funny. Of the whole meeting here, I alone doubted his guilt.
Good thing they made you the judge, or he might be 6 feet under by now. Got a cigarette?
In the box there, next to the phone.
Thanks. Yeah, I went right along with him, too. Shows how wrong you can be when...
When what?
When you go by emotions and not by evidence. This is, quite a cigarette box.
Yes. It stops when you put it down.
Hmm? Well.
I suppose now you'll drop your assignment?
Sure. I'm a detective, not a psychiatrist. You've got a lunatic running around, that's your problem. Good night, Fosky, and thanks for the brandy.
If Roscoe had been along, I might have played it differently. But when you're sitting across a coffee table from a guy you suddenly realize has the wet cement all ready, you do what I did, make polite noises and concentrate on getting out on 2 feet. It was 7-3. Dominic was stashed in a handy closet listening to the whole thing, which was handy since the next obvious move was his room in a house on Jefferson Street. A rooming house owned and operated by a 4-corsage bosom-type lady known as Mama Luca.
Oh, Senor, I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing.
You're scared, Mama. Did Dominic threaten you?
No, don't ask me.
Look. He killed Louie Maggiore. I gotta know why.
I don't know why. I don't know nothing about it.
Louie came here?
Yes. Yes, Louis came here the night before it happened.
Why?
I don't know. He was all excited. A handful of wax.
Wax?
You know.
What about it?
He showed it to Dominique, and they go into his room and talk, and then he ran off to send a telegram.
Telegraph office, huh?
Well, since it's official business, I can let you read the office copy. Here. This message just came in tonight.
Dominic Torrio. Regarding your inquiry, analysis of samples sent here by Louie Maggiore, highly promising. If quality uniform and weight correct, would estimate value minimum $60,000. Hartley Associates, Vancouver, B.C. A lump of smelly stuff that looked like old tallow, picked out of the ocean and worth $60,000, was a strong enough clue for even stupid Sam to pick up. I left the telegraph office on the double and pulled up at the Museo Maggiore 10 minutes later.
Blasted lock is jammed.
He was too busy to notice me. I slid a marlin spike out of a rack next to the rum keg.
Locked. Must be locked.
I hate to do this, Fosky.
Wait a minute, Spade. Wait a minute.
The next voice you'll hear will be the nurse with a breakfast tray. Bartolomeo!
Senor Spade, what have you...
Look.
What have you done?
His Honor was playing Pandora with Captain Kidd's treasury.
Treasure box?
Yeah.
But why? Who is it? Who? Fosky.
Surprised?
Fosky? Why would he, of all people?
He likes a buck as well as the next one, possibly even more, when there are 60,000 of them.
$60,000?
Yeah.
Is he mad?
Like a fox. Here, let me pry this cover off. There.
What is this?
Well, it may not look like much to you and me, but to a perfume manufacturer, it's prettier than the Venus de Milo.
Tallow?
Ambergris. It's what happens when a whale gets a tummy ache. Louis must have run onto it 10 days ago.
Madre mia, $60,000.
Yeah. That's the big why of it, Bartolomeo.
What now? You think Fosky...
He won't talk, neither will Dominic. They're next and they know it. Still 2 men alone in a fog in a boat.
See.
There were only a witness.
There was a witness.
Hmm?
The eye of God was on Dominic when he did it. And the judgment of God is swift and is sure. Dominic knows it.
You think so?
I know Dominic. Why you ask?
There's a way to find out. What time is it?
1:30.
There's time. Where do you keep your razor?
Razor?
Yeah. I'm going to shave Captain Kidd. Which I did, finishing around 2 a.m. And during the next 3 hours, I got wet, cold, and seasick in the order named, but made it back to the Museo in time for a couple of stiff horns of grappa before you and I hustled down to the wharf to where Dominic was picking up bait for his crab nets.
Dominic?
Huh? Oh, Bartolomeo.
And the Senor Spade.
I remember Mr. Spade.
Yeah, last night in back at Castellani's.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Sure, Dominic. It's all a horrible mistake.
Lay off me, will you? Heard what Fosky said, didn't you? They dropped the charges. I'm innocent. They cleared me.
That's just why we're here.
We want to make it up to you, my boy.
What's in your mind?
You did Louis a great favor, Dominic. When his 32 crab pots got too much for him to handle, you went along to help him. Today, we're going along to help you. Now, when do we cast off? There's a float up ahead.
What color?
Yellow and red. Is that yours, Dominic?
That's mine.
Great. Pull up alongside. Well?
What's this all about?
I told you, Dominic.
You're lying. What are you trying to do? Break me down? He's dead in an accident. You heard what Fosky said?
Yeah. Forget it, Dominic. Forget it. We love you like a brother.
I told the truth. What are you trying to do? Torture me? Is that what you want? Revenge?
No. The matter is in other hands now.
What? You mean?
There is always one witness, isn't there, Dominic?
Oh. That's what you mean, huh? Is that why you came to tell me that? That's a good one. Hold the wheel, Spade. I'll bait my net. I'll spit in your eye one day, old man. One day when you get smart. You and the whole lousy
We
war.
both watched him hold the line,
what you had
playing it
planned
on
for
the
me.
deck, prattling to himself like a little kid whistling in the dark. He was a lousy actor, pale under his sunburn and drenched with
I
sweat.
won't let you forget
Up it came, coil by
I got
coil.
something to prove.
Then it began to come slower.
I can make it stick. When I can prove it in court, I'll sue you till you bleed. Hey, what's the matter here? What's pulling on this line?
Maybe it's your conscience, Dominic.
It's heavy. It's... What?
The Lord moves in strange ways.
I can't get it up.
Let me help you. There we go. 1, 2...
Up!
Louie! Get away from me! Let me go! Louie! No!
I hauled Louie up onto the deck, and a grisly sight he was, too, with a knife still sticking in his back. I figured that was where Dominic would put it, and I was right. Not that it mattered, because Dominic wasn't thinking logically from the moment he saw Louie's body tangled in his crab line. He sang us all 50 verses then and there and repeated them for the police stenographer later when we got him to headquarters. It looks like a first-degree rap for both him and Foskey, but I'm waiting till it happens before telling him the corpse was Captain Kidd, minus beard and ruffles. Period. End of report.
Sam, again and again I rediscover you.
And each time a new facet, a new thrill.
You're just wonderful.
It's true, but it pleases me to hear it from you, F. And so I propose to reward you in a fitting manner. First,
back salary?
Tut, a carburetor for your voiturette. And second,
back salary?
10 free tickets to the Museo Maggiore. Third,
back salary.
An invitation to accompany me, your employer, to browse upon 2 bowls of cioppino tonight at Castellani's. And fourth,
I give up.
back salary.
Sam!
Count it, girl, count it, and bless you. The voiturette, complete with carburetor, will call at your door in precisely 1 hour. Until then...
Good night, Sam.
Good night, sweetheart.
Three chimes mean good times on NBC. You're invited to a 1-hour concert tomorrow by the renowned NBC Symphony under the direction of noted conductor Wilfred Pelletier. Featured soloist on tomorrow's symphony performance is Helen Traubel. For the world's greatest music, hear the NBC Symphony tomorrow and every Saturday. Tonight's transcribed adventure of Sam Spade was produced, edited, and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade was played by Stephen Dunn. Lorene Tuttle as Effie. Script for tonight's adventure by Harold Swanton. Musical scoring by Lud Gluskin, conducted by Robert Armbruster. Join us again next week, same time, for another adventure with Sam Spade. Through the years, the Red Cross has helped the victims of disaster and helped protect the health of our nation. Today, with the country rising to meet the challenge of possible aggression, the Red Cross has been asked by the government to undertake additional tremendous tasks. A goal of $85 million must be reached during the 1951 Red Cross campaign. This year, when you support the Red Cross, you'll be helping to mobilize for the defense of our nation. Join the magnificent Montague. Then it's Duffy's Tavern on NBC. The National Broadcasting Company presents The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective.
Sam Spade Detective Agency?
Me, sweetheart.
Oh, Sam.
Oh, if all is forgiven. forgiven like I told you.
How can you forgive me, Sam? I almost killed you.
Well, why kick yourself, F? You would have done the private detective profession a great favor.
Oh, don't say that,
By
Sam.
removing from its rolls the only operative in San Francisco stupid enough to shake an apple tree for an entire evening trying to pick up an apron full of bananas.
But they all can't come out right in the end, Sam.
Ah, but you haven't heard the postscript, Angel.
Postscript?
Postscript, indeed. Batten down the hatches and warn all within earshot that they're about to catch Stupid Sam, the incomparable, in a new act. For during the next 29 minutes and 30 seconds, I shall don the mantle of Don Quixote, shoulder my battered lance, and tilt at windmills in an object lesson to the gullible entitled The Spanish Prisoner Caper.
Transcribed for NBC, William Spear, radio's outstanding producer director of mystery and crime drama, brings you the greatest private detective of them all in The Adventures of Sam Spade.
Effie? Yep.
I don't know what.
Oh, now, there, Angel. Don't cry, little girl. Don't cry.
I'm so stupid. You might have been.
Hush.
Yes.
We'll have no more of it here.
But
Not a word, not a word. Book, pencil.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Date, fill it in to Miss Marjorie Loveland, Brockhaven Apartments, from Samuel Spade, still license number 1375596. Down, F.A., down. Subject, the Spanish prisoner caper. Dear, dear Marjorie. When they made you, darling, they threw the mold away. In this day of the emancipated, self-sufficient, 100% competent female, it came as a fresh breeze and a boost to my masculine ego to run across a lady, white-haired and fragile withal, who needed protection. After meeting you, I knew what the fellow had in mind when he wrote, Heaven will protect the working girl. As a matter of fact, you could have been the very girl, since you and the song were about the same vintage.
Do please sit down, Mr. Spade. May I fix you some tea?
No, thanks.
I planned to come to your office, but I decided I just couldn't risk going out at this time.
Oh, why's that?
Well, he might come, you see. And I'd never forgive myself if I was out.
Oh, who's this?
Senor Palmera.
Oh.
Oh, he's more than a week overdue now, and I'm on pins and needles. I gave him my address here at the Brockhaven. But there's the Brocklebank and the Brockhurst and the Brockmorton and the Brock. It would be so easy for him to become confused, being a stranger in town.
Well, I'm a native. I'm confused myself.
Well, I thought perhaps you could locate him. He should be back from Mexico by now with Don Luis.
Don Luis.
Dear me. So many things could happen to them. Walking the streets with all that money.
What money?
The gold and the precious gems.
How about starting all over again?
Why? Haven't I made myself clear, Mr. Spade?
Well, I have the end fairly straight, yes, but if you'll give me the beginning, we'll have everything.
Well, I suppose the beginning was 3 weeks ago.
Where?
In the lobby of the Grand Hotel for Women.
I see.
I was staying there temporarily while I was waiting for this apartment, you see.
So?
So, the day I got word I could move here, I packed up and had them take my things out to the taxi. Then I went to the desk and got my money from the vault.
Oh, how much?
$840.
Cash?
Yes, in bills. My annuity money had just come from the East.
Well,
I just put the bills in my purse and was starting out the door when it happened. This voice came over my shoulder. A soft Latin voice saying, Senorita, I come to you on a matter of terrible urgency.
And lo and behold, it was Senor Palmera.
How did you know?
Oh, I have a feeling for those things. Go ahead.
Well, his uncle, Don Luis Alvaro, was in terrible trouble, he said. In prison in Mexico City on some sort of trumped-up political charge.
And the family, though noble, was financially impoverished.
Yes, except...
Except for a casket containing the family jewels and an assortment of priceless heirlooms, all hundreds of years old, hand-wrought of the finest virgin gold.
Mr. Spade, however...
Said caskets and its precious hoard being hidden away in a secret place known only to Don Luis. All he needs is a paltry $840.
It was $1,000. I went to the bank.
A paltry $1,000 to bribe a jail official, and presto, Don Luis goes free, unearths the casket, and rewards you with an ample share of the family treasure.
Mr. Spade, you've talked to Senor Palmera.
Nope. How badly do you need the dough?
Need it? Why, good heavens, Mr. Spade. It's all I have until next June. There's a small pension from the school board in Keokuk, but dear me, I don't know just how... Mr. Spade, do you mean he isn't coming back with my money?
The truth of the matter, Marjorie, was that you'd fallen for the Spanish prisoner's swindle. A hoary old chestnut that goes back to the day of P.T. Barnum and before. But you looked like if I gave you an honest answer, you'd dissolve into tears. And as I said, I was in one of my heaven and Spade will protect the working girl moods, so I made up a dishonest one.
Mr. Spade, will
I'll try and look him up. Maybe it's all a terrible misunderstanding.
Oh, good.
Effie?
Free? What'd you say?
Miss Perrine.
Oh, Sam Spade Detective Agency. Mr. Spade is...
This is Mr. Spade, charming one.
Oh, Sam, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Dorothy's here, and I'm trying to learn to knit argyle socks.
Oh, fine. Drop all stitches and look in the file for me, will you? I remember getting a circular a while back on a con man who was running the Spanish prisoner around here.
What would it be under, Sam? Spanish prisoner?
Con games, obsolete. Get out the file.
Oh, just a minute. It's Sam, Dorothy. Count those stitches while I look in the file. Confidence games. Oh, here. You told me to knit 2 and slip 2, I'm sure. Sam!
Yeah?
I found it. His name's Pedro Rodriguez.
Rodriguez?
There's no address, but it says he habitually associates with somebody named Lolita Montoya. Sounds Spanish.
Slightly. Any address for her?
615 Mason Street.
Fine.
And that's all there is, Sam. Oh, golly, I'm so mixed up with these darn argyles.
Oh, what's so tough about that?
Well, you ought to try it sometime.
What row are you on?
27th. Knit 3 and slip 1, she says, and I don't...
She's wrong. Knit 2, slip 1, knit 1, pass 1, and knit 1. You got it?
Sam! How versatile!
Nothing at all. I've been going out with a gray lady. .615 Mason Street was a very large apartment building with the usual brass plate in the entry listing the inhabitants, among which I was happy to note was Lolita Montoya, apartment 408. I picked up the house phone and pressed the button.
Yeah?
Telegram for Lolita Montoya.
Lolita isn't here.
Lolita? My Lolita? Who is calling?
Just a telegram, Pop. Stick it in the box, eh?
Money order. Somebody has to sign for it.
But it may be important.
I will take care of it, understand?
Yes, I understand.
Sonny?
Yeah?
Climb back into that cab I saw you get out of. Hustle over to Western Union and tell the president Lolita's on a vacation. Get it?
Score for you now. Hello? Well. Nothing daunted, I punched a few bells until one of the less suspicious tenants gave me the front door buzz, walked in, and took the automatic elevator to the 4th floor. Or I should say toward the 4th floor, since halfway between the 3rd and 4th, she quit cold. The elevator, that is, but there are devices for such things. I pushed the button marked emergency, and it took me only 50 minutes to get out, assisted by the janitor, the manager, and 12 tenants. The doors on the 4th floor, it seemed, had been carelessly pried open and held that way by a magazine carelessly stuck in the crack. Continuing my stealthy approach to 408, I found my man and his pal had somehow sensed I was coming and run off without stopping to close the door. The apartment was filled with cigarette smoke and not much else, a bed, an empty dresser, and a table on which were one pot half full of foul black coffee, a little pointed gadget that looked like a nut pick, and a handful of metal shavings. I was contemplating what connection, if any, this had with your missing $1,000 when... Yeah?
This is Stuyvesant, Pedro. I just wanted to inquire how everything is coming along, if at all.
See, great.
How much?
Well, there's 1,000.
Is it good?
Oh, see, boy, what do you think?
Pedro, this here is joyous news. Like you said, Pedro, our Spanish prisoner is a valuable man. I must hustle over to the lighthouse and inform Lolita.
Lighthouse?
She has been very conscientious in the role, Pedro, very.
Oh, see, great.
It's not every girl who would sell out her grandfather so readily, Pedro.
Nope.
We must not take Lolita for granted. I will give it a new rumble, and we'll see you tonight at Simplex. Right?
See, right.
Au revoir, Pedro.
Au revoir? What au revoir? Oulé, Stevie. The only lighthouse I knew was a gin mill perched midway down the Embarcadero south of Market, surrounded by shoals strewn with human wrecks of all description. A place you might find shell game men and carny grifters, but hardly a habitat for a con man smooth enough to work the Spanish prisoner. The lighthouse keeper, who looked like he'd retired from the sea after a losing battle with Moby Dick, was bent over a pinball machine next to the door. As far as I could see by the one light in the joint, it was empty.
Get up, get up. Yeah, get up, get up, get up, get up. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Oh.
Too bad, lighthouse keeper.
Yeah, what do you have?
Well, beer when you're ready. Do you know Pedro Rodriguez?
Yeah, worked for me once, a couple of years ago. I canned him.
Why?
He's a swab. Only honest nickel he ever made was when he was here.
All right, get up, get up, get up, get up.
Thanks. Yeah, crooked swab is Pedro Rodriguez. He's up to something right now, if you ask me.
Spanish prisoner?
Oh, you mixed up in it too, huh?
Nope, I just want to be. How does it go?
Well, I don't know much about it, only it seems to smell. See, Pedro was sitting at the bar the other night with another swab, talking about an old Spanish gent who's going to make him $1 million. Just come over from Spade. Get up, get up, get up.
Nice shot.
Body English, pure and simple.
Yeah, so what about the Spanish gent?
Well, I didn't hear no more about that. Hey, I'll tell you what you do. You ask Lolita about it. Anything Pedro's mixed up in, she generally knows about.
Good. Where do I find Lolita?
Let's see. I ain't sure whether it's the third or the fourth.
Third or fourth what?
The booth from the back there.
Oh.
She's been sitting there all night writing letters. You better be careful, though. She got an awful temper.
Thanks, lighthouse keeper. How about the beer?
Sure.
Hey, Larry, draw one.
So Larry drew one, and I took it down to the bar to a point opposite booth number 4, which indeed contained Lolita, a fragile little thing wearing a turtleneck sweater marked Stillman's Gym. The table was covered with writing paper, and her alabaster brow was a mass of unsightly wrinkles as she chewed the end of her fountain pen. I'd no sooner settled down when the front door opened and what appeared to be the reincarnation of Gargantua the gorilla, only with clothes, steamed down the aisle and slid in next to Lolita, who was not alarmed at all.
Lolita, I bear tidings.
Listen to this. I am making progress. Grandfather dear, you cannot know how dire is the peril into which I have been thrust. Okay?
Possibilities.
Or maybe, Grandfather beloved. As I take up my pen in hand, I am overcome with fear. Things look very black indeed. I have fallen into the clutches of a... Stuyvesant, what are you grinning at?
I have just conversed with Pedro on the telephone. We are in.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, you mean no more letters?
No more. Pedro is exalted. He says that...
What's the matter?
Are we interfering with your train of thought, Buster?
No. Go right ahead. I'll just sit here and drink my beer.
Wait a minute. Now, look, George, there is plenty of bar down near the front door.
Leave him be, Lolita. He's just a schmuck.
I'm not so sure. He's got an honest look about him I do not like. What is on your mind, George?
Pedro.
Pedro, huh?
Yeah, he's getting careless. Shortchanged a friend of mine $1,000.
How does this figure?
This man is subtle, Stivey.
Yeah.
You are anxious to put the bite on Pedro for $1,000, right?
Huh? That is, unless Pedro wants to take a 5-year rap, it's up to him.
5-year rap for what?
Stupidity. They ought to know better than to try to get by with a Spanish prisoner, honey.
Spanish prisoner? He knows.
What'd I tell you? It's a shakedown.
Are you?
Relax, Stuyvesant. Violence will get you nowhere.
Out of my way, Stuyvesant. I'll show this tin horn.
Lay off, Lolita, not the gun.
I said get out of my way.
You better let me have it, baby.
Lolita, temper.
gun with one hand while Lolita chewed on my other one. Stuyvesant, meanwhile, catching my head under his arm like a nutcracker and kicking me in the stomach with his knee. This went on for some time, then I became vaguely aware of Stuyves's fist, as big as a ham, coming up from the floor. He caught me on the side of the head, and I skidded down the marble floor, past the row of booths like a ball on a bowling alley, scoring a 10-strike on the pinball machine, which leaned drunkenly over me, stuck out its coin drawer, and flashed a red light in my face, reading "Foul ball, try again." Stupid me, I did.
You are listening to the weekly adventure of radio's most famous detective, Sam Spade. Three chimes mean good times on NBC. There's music and mystery tomorrow on NBC. For music, your hit parade brings you the top tunes in the land, as selected by you and presented by Raymond Scott's Orchestra, Eileen Wilson, and Snooky Lanson. For mystery, Herbert Marshall stars as the Man Called X, an intrepid adventurer in international intrigue who travels to all corners of the world. Wherever there is danger, romance, and mystery, there you will find the Man Called X. And now back to the Spanish Prisoner Caper, tonight's adventure with Sam Spade.
I came to with my head jammed between the brass rail and the bar next to what proved to be the lighthouse keeper's left shoe, parked as always in front of the pinball machine.
Larry, that's up front.
Oh.
All right, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up.
Where are they?
Top hole is all filled with 3 balls to go.
Congratulations. How about Lolita and the mug?
Oh, Deb. All right, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up. Oh, Deb? Took off, blast them. I had 780,000 points run up, and they had to go and throw you at the machine, cause a tilt. And Larry!
I sat until the buzzing in my ears quieted down and tried to hark back to the phone conversation with Stuyvesant in the apartment. It came eventually, and I pried mine host, the lighthouse keeper, away from the pinball machine and sat him down next to me with the yellow and standard sections of the telephone book.
Simplex Bar Supply?
No. Simplex, Easy Do Garden Furniture, nope.
How about Simplex Printing Company, 509 Sansom Street?
Nope. Simplex Office Files.
Simplex Service Station, 12th and...
No.
Well, how do you know, mate? There's 42 Simplexes in this book alone.
You find one that sounds like the front for a con operation, I'll buy it. Let's see. Simplex Cleaners, nope.
Simplex Associates, nope.
What's that?
Nothing suspicious. Simplex Associates. Business opportunities, investments, gold, oil, and mining securities, marked cards, loaded dice, and Las Vegas real estate. Nothing.
Well, that just sounds like it might be a possibility, though. Yeah, real estate is... Midway.
Homicide, Dundee.
Sam Dundee, do me a favor, will you, pal?
What?
Run across the hall and check the bunco files. There's an outfit called Simplex Associates.
Well, what's it about?
Well, it started out as a con game. A grifter took my client for $1,000 on the Spanish prisoner.
Spanish prisoner?
Yeah.
Well, what's that got to do with me? Call Bunko yourself, Sam.
They're closed down at this time of night, Dundee. Be a sweetheart
I'm
now, will
no
you?
sweetheart. I'm a homicide lieutenant, and I don't run a service agency for private detectives. Unless there's a corpse in it. You can take your business elsewhere.
Dundee, look. Hold it, will you?
I can't hold it. I got to get it.
Lolita, where is she? Where is my...
I got him.
Put him down on the floor.
The couch in the back.
No, don't move. Easy. There. That's it.
Lolita, I know she is here. They must free her. You must call the police and...
Free her? Why was Pedro holding her?
To make me do this thing, this terrible thing. And I have done it. But you must stop him now. He will let my Lolita go now. Then you must stop him. Millions of pesos in my honor. You must.
Where is he?
Simplex.
He's in a bad way, Bate.
Not anymore. He was an aristocrat, thin face, silver hair, and the look of a bourbon. It stopped me, Marjorie, because here it was, just like your Senor Palmera told you. The nobleman in the ragged clothes and dangling from one of his ankles the broken chain of a leg iron. In short, the complete Spanish prisoner. Sunday, it's legitimate now. You've got your corpse. There was nothing on him to indicate who he was or where he came from, but I had a feeling I'd seen him before. After making the lighthouse keeper promise me he'd lay off the pinball game until Dundee arrived, I took off for my office on a very practical errand.
Sam! Oh, Sam! Oh, what are you doing?
Buckling on my 45, sweetheart. If I had a light tank and a bazooka, I'd take them, too.
Oh, Sam, your face is
I
all...
know, sweetheart.
Oh, Sam,
Hmm?
about the Spanish prison.
Well, there's a real Spanish prisoner in this one, F. He's dead now, by the way, and from the cheap grift of $1,000 from a poor retired school teacher. We're now up in the $1 million bracket. They got a murderous ex-Corrine playing like she's been kidnapped and writing extortion notes to her grandpa, and a mug who looks like a monkey's nightmare, and nut picks and metal shavings, and someplace or somebody named Simplex, not to mention...
Oh, Sam, stop it. It's all my fault. I was so mixed up with the Argyles.
What have the Argyles got to do with it?
When you called about the file, the circular on the confidence man.
Yeah?
I was looking under Carl under the C's, but I got out the one next to it by mistake.
No.
Yes. The one marked counterfeiters.
Only then did I remember where I'd seen the old man before. The paper was still on my desk, and his picture was still on the front page over an article that ran something like this. Search on for ex-Spanish Treasury official. Police today were still without definite leads in the search for Ramon Montoya, former chief engraver of the Spanish Mint. Montoya, who arrived in San Francisco 3 weeks ago to visit his granddaughter, vanished from his hotel room shortly after checking in, etc., etc., etc.
Yes, Sam?
Call Lieutenant Dundee at the lighthouse on the Embarcadero. Also call the Treasury Department. Tell them both Pedro Rodriguez and his 2 assistants are even now busily running off currency from plates engraved by Ramon Montoya at the Simplex Printing Company, 509 Sansom Street.
Yes, sir.
Mexican pesos it was, by the basketful. And the Treasury dicks agreed it was a happy thing for Mexico that Ramon had kept his engraver's tool on the right side of the law up to now. As to the matter of your Senor Palmera and his Spanish prisoner, I had excusably, I hope, lost my enthusiasm. And so it was, Marjorie, that I walked into the Palace Hotel lobby a couple of hours later to call you.
Yes, sir?
I'd like some nickels to phone, please.
Why, sir.
Here.
Shall I?
No. They're phony Mexican bills.
Oh, dear. Dear me. Oh, good heavens, you shouldn't show money around like that.
I just stuck them in my pockets for evidence. Forgot to turn them over to the Treasury. Here we are. Here's the dime.
Yes, sir. And here you are.
Thank you.
Hey, senor, you dropped some big money.
Keep it.
Huh?
Yeah. Put these back in my pocket.
Excuse me, please, senor. Hey, John, look, I want to talk on you.
Hello?
Marjorie, this is Sam Spade.
Look, senor, I got to talk to
Oh,
you.
Mr. Spade, did you find him?
I'm sorry, Marjorie.
I beg your pardon, senor.
Just a minute, Marge. Now, look, buddy, you can have the phone in a minute. Now, will you relax?
You mean my money is gone?
I'm afraid so, Marge. It's an expensive lesson, but it's worth it if you remember, honey. From now on, never flash your money in public places.
Senor, please.
I'm almost through. Will you wait a minute? And never trust strangers, Marge. The world is full of sharks looking around for easy, middle-aged ladies with bankrolls.
But he seemed so honest, Mr. Spade.
That's the trouble.
The way he came up to me and said, Senorita, I come to you on a matter of terrible urgency.
I know. He saw your bankroll,
Senor,
and he
I come
figured...
to you on a matter of terrible urgency.
Figured you look like an easy mark, Marge, so...
Senor?
Just a minute, Marjorie. What did you say?
I say I come to you on a matter of terrible urgency. My uncle, Don Luis Alvarado, he's in awful trouble.
Oh?
Oh, there's going to be great rewards, senor, if you help us.
You know, we just might be able to work something out. Well, Marjorie, he had $1,358, from which I deducted your $1,000 enclosed herewith, plus $58 representing my standard retainer. Period. End of report.
Oh, it must be awful to be gullible like that.
dear, sweet little soul.
Yes.
Imagine her falling for a transparent swindle like that. You know, that's one thing I've learned from you, Sam.
Oh?
I have my savings in a real good, solid thing.
What's that?
An avocado mine.
An avocado mine? Where?
In Nome. That's in Alaska, you know.
Hmm. Well, nevertheless, and notwithstanding, go type that up.
Three chimes mean good times on NBC. For something new about the Army, hear the Phil Regan Show every Sunday on NBC. Coming from a different service base every week, Phil Regan brings you songs and fun and brings prizes to talented GIs. It's an exciting newcomer in your Sunday chime lineup on NBC. And Sunday also means Cary Grant and Betsy Drake as Mr. and Mrs. Blandings.
Here it is, Sam. Why, Sam.
Knit 2, purl 3, slip 1, and knit 1, you see?
How many rows did you do?
I'm on 57.
Are you sure you're right, Sam?
Well, look at it. Have you ever seen such argyle?
Well, that's what I mean, Sam. They sort of billow out, don't they?
Well, who cares? That guy you're making them for probably won't appreciate them anyway.
But they have to fit, Sam.
Well, look at that. It'll make a perfect sleeping bag for a fat cat. Now, tell him your boss loused them up.
But, Sam... Oh, dear.
What's the matter?
Well, it was going to be a surprise. They're for,
No.
Yes?
Well, I'll treasure him, sweetheart. That's beautiful. Just what I wanted.
That's my boss. Good night, Sam.
Good night, sweetheart.
Tonight's transcribed adventure of Sam Spade was produced, edited, and directed by William Spear. Sam Spade was played by Stephen Dunn. Lorene Tuttle is Effie. Also in the cast were Verna Felton, Lou Merrill, Shirley Mitchell, Ed Max, Jerry Hausner, Nestor Paiva, and Tony Barrett. Script for tonight's adventures by Harold Swanton. Musical scoring by Lud Gluskin, conducted by Robert Armbruster. Join us again next week, same time, for another adventure with Sam Spade. For more mystery excitement tomorrow, it's The Man Called X on NBC. The National Broadcasting Company presents The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective.
Detective Agency?
Me, sweetheart.
Oh.
Well, that's a warm reception if I ever heard one.
I'm here at my post, Sam, ready to do my duty.
All right, let's have it.
Have what?
What have I done?
Well...
Come on.
Sam, who was that lady I seen you with?
What lady?
What lady? Sam, for your information, there was a 5-column picture on page 1 of the Chronicle showing you with your arms around...
The redhead?
Yes.
Ah.
It means nothing to me as a person, Sam, although I am a redhead myself. But I feel there are certain standards of publicity and agency of our stature.
Angel, if you'd bothered to read the caption under the picture, you would have learned that my arms were around this other redhead to keep her from braining me with a paperweight she picked off Dundee's desk.
Oh.
Yes. So take my picture back out of the drawer, and while you're at it, grab the book and pencil, because I'll be right down with a somewhat lengthier explanation entitled... The Sinister Siren Caper.
Transcribed for NBC, William Spear, radio's outstanding producer-director of mystery and crime drama, brings you the greatest private detective of them all in The Adventures of Sam Spade.
Oh, red-headed woman made a fool out of me. Effie! Miss Perrine.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was just...
Well.
Why, Sam! What a pleasant surprise.
Oh?
No black eyes.
What?
Hair comb, suit press.
Yes, frayed, but tidy.
How do you explain this, Sam?
Well.
I'm so used to you coming in with...
Battle scars?
Uh-huh. Among other things.
How do I explain this? That woman is a Q if I ever heard one. Are you,
Ready, Sam. That's all.
That's my girl. To Mr. Donald Stryker, Bellhaven Apartments from Samuel Spade, license number 1375596. Subject, the Sinister Siren caper. Dear Donald, business was terrible, and I blame the weather. Sitting in my office with my feet on the radiator and the paper on my lap, looking out on the 48th consecutive day of rain, I was seriously contemplating moving my place of business to a warmer clime where people could get out in the sunshine and into trouble. The only item of possible interest in the paper was the story of the escape of one Artie the actor, a convicted bank robber who apparently didn't much care whether or not it was raining when he busted out of the city jail. I had reached the part about some good friend and true smuggling Artie a set of keys when something prompted me to look up. And that, Mr. Stryker, is how I found you.
Mr. Spade?
Yes, sir?
I am Donald O. Stryker.
Mm-hmm.
Stryker. The O stands for Oglethorpe, my mother's maiden name.
Oh, well, that's nice. Sit down, Mr. Stryker.
Thanks. Whew.
Well, now what can I do for you?
Mr. Spade, the Strykers, as you may or may not know, are an ancient and honorable family dating back to pre-Elizabeth England, with the possible exception of one southern number who is said to have once nodded by mistake to Jesse James. No Stryker has run afoul of the law.
Well, good for you.
One and all, we have kept our skirts clean, one and all. That is why I am utterly at a loss to explain the situation in which I find myself.
And just what situation is that?
A quasi-reliable source has informed me that I am a marked man.
Quasi?
Yes.
Why don't you begin at the beginning, Mr. Stryker?
The beginning, Mr. Spade, is only 2 minutes from the ending.
Oh?
Yes, it happened last night. I was sitting home with a book of Plato's dialogues when the bell rang most energetically.
Mm-hmm.
It proved to be a man named Strutt. George P. Strutt. S-T-R-U-T-T.
2 T's.
A wild-haired, wild-eyed individual he was, Mr. Spade.
Yes.
Stryker, he says. Donald O. Stryker.
Hmm?
Well, I'd hardly nodded when he grabbed me by the necktie. Ha, he said, just like that.
Ha?
Ha. Mr. Stryker, ha. I'm in time, then. You can still save yourself. And he shoved this at me.
Oh, what's that?
A picture of a girl, a young and rather pretty girl, out from a newspaper.
Oh, yeah.
No name or identification. Beware this girl, Stryker, he said. Beware the siren song she sings. Stryker, he said, and he cinched up even harder on my necktie.
Yes?
Stryker, you are number 6. I am 5, and 4 are doomed before us. Beware, Stryker, beware this girl, this sinister red-haired harpy, this handmaiden of the dark angel.
Well, that's quite a speech.
A curtain speech, Mr. Spade. For with that, he let go my necktie and ran off down the hall. Somehow after that, Plato didn't seem quite the same.
Yes, I see what you mean. Do you know this girl?
Never saw her before in my life.
Or Strutt either?
No.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Stryker, I don't want to talk myself out of a job, but you don't need a private detective. Now, this is probably some harmless chap who walked out of one of the local sanitariums and took to ringing doorbell.
But that's just it. He isn't, Mr. Spade.
Huh?
I did some telephoning this morning.
Yes?
He has a quasi-successful cigar stand downtown and an apartment on Leavenworth Street. His name is right next to mine in the telephone book. I must get to the bottom of this, Mr. Spade. Here's $50.
Well, Mr. Stryker.
Are you completely skeptical?
No, just quasi. And with that, we formalized our agreement on one of my quasi-legal contracts, and I promised to call you instantly if anything turned up, and you departed, still in a quasi-quandary. Sticking the newspaper clipping into my wallet, I hopped a cab and went to Strutt's apartment on Leavenworth. Let's see, 26, 24, 22. Mm-hmm. Hoo-hoo! Hey! Hey, lady!
It was a cleaning lady, cloth on head, mop and pail beside her, testing the guarantee on Strutt's grand piano.
Awake unto me. That knothead.
Who?
Strutt.
Oh.
Ain't got no respect for $1,000 grand piano. Listen to that. Busted string.
Yes.
It's a crime, that's what it is. What do you want, Jack?
I take it Mr. Strutt isn't in.
Nope. Who are you?
Sam Spade, private detective.
Detective?
Yeah. Seems Strutt thinks someone is going to kill him.
Oh, no. When did he dream that one up?
You got me. You know him very well?
I've come here twice a week for 15 years. You want to talk, Sam, you'll have to follow me around.
Okay.
Gotta get a wiggle on. Come on now.
I'll get a wiggle on. You think he was dreaming it up, huh?
Now, let me tell you about George Strutt.
Yes.
Let me put that bucket down. Out, please.
Oh,
There.
sorry.
He is 68 years old, to my knowledge, and in them 68 years, one important thing has happened to him. He was born.
Oh.
George just reads too many cheap books, that's all.
Well, no girlfriends?
No. Well, now, wait a minute. Let me see. There was a woman about 8 years ago in the bird-watching club he belongs to, but that laid an egg.
Bird watching. Any enemies?
How could a man like George have enemies? Nobody notices him. He matches the rug. Now, look. He goes to lodge meeting twice a month, to church every Sunday. He doesn't smoke, drink, gamble, spit on the floor, or chase women. Got no other bad habits. No car, no house, no money, no prospects.
Yeah.
Look out, I got to get into that closet.
Oh, yes, sir.
So why would anyone want to kill George Strutt? He's been dead on his feet for 20 years. Why, when I see George, I'll give him a piece of my... George!
I turned in time to see him lean out stiffly, pause like a falling tree, and then topple to the floor. Followed closely by the cleaning lady, who must have agreed before she fainted that George didn't match the rug anymore. While this struck a false note in my mind, it explained the false note in the piano. The missing string was wound around his neck. I dragged her into the bedroom and managed to get her onto the bed by making 2 trips. Then I called homicide. The next order of business, per our agreement, was to call you, Stryker. So I got Strutt's telephone book, found he'd marked the page with your number on it with a slip of paper, which turned out to be the receipt for rent paid on a safe deposit box at the Golden Gate Bank. Now, this didn't seem especially important at the moment, but something else did. He'd made a circle around a group of 6 names in the phone book, marking each one with a check. Strubble, Strudwick, Strum, Strutherton, Strutt, and Stryker. I postponed calling you for the moment and dialed the number just above Strutt's. Strutherton, Harvey J., 156 Santa Ana Avenue, St. Francis Wood.
Yes?
Mr. Strutherton in, please?
No. Mr. Strutherton isn't in. This is his wife.
My name is Spade, Mrs. Strutherton. I'm a private detective. I don't want to alarm you, but...
Alarm me?
Do you happen to know if your husband has received any threats recently?
Why, not that I know of.
Any contact with a strange young woman about 30, red hair?
Why are you asking me this?
I'd rather not say until I know more about it. What about the girl?
Yes. Yes, he did meet a girl like that.
Oh, when?
She came to the door one night about a week ago. Said her car was stalled down the street a ways. Harvey went out to help her. They were gone about a half hour, and then he came back.
Well, did he tell you anything about it?
No. Just that he'd gotten her started.
Uh-huh. Is he a mechanic, or...?
He was a lawyer.
Was?
Harvey is dead, Mr. Spade. His car crashed through a rail on the Skyline Boulevard night before last. Burned. I just been to San Mateo to identify the body.
Strum Joseph P., 828 Howard Street. Yeah, that's Joe. That is your van.
Thanks. You know Joe pretty well?
I might not. Why?
What do you mean you might not? This is 828 Howard Street, isn't it?
The number's over the door.
Don't you like me, bartender?
What's eating you about, Joe Strum?
Look, you see this?
Private detectives, lots. Oh.
Yeah. Poor but honest, Barkeep. Trying hard to get a little cooperation.
I thought you was a cop.
Now, what's with Joe?
Well, I'll tell you.
Mm-hmm.
He uses the phone here. He makes a little book now and then in the back room. Nothing wrong, you understand, but still and all, there's nothing a guy likes to blat around about the strangers, you know.
Yeah. Any idea where he is now?
Well, that's a pretty hard thing to say where Joe is at any given time.
Oh.
Even when Joe's acting normal, which at present he isn't.
Oh, why not?
Well, like all bookies, Joe does not have a heart. But if he had one, I would not hesitate to say Joe was in love.
With a red-headed dame about 30.
How did you know?
Here, look at the picture.
Let me get my glasses.
Oh.
Glasses. Yeah.
There they are.
Aha. This is the dish.
You know her name?
No. Joe has made no formal announcement as yet, but the word has gone around he is giving 8 to 5 he will marry her, which for Joe is a sure thing. Last Friday it was when I seen him last. They sat up to the bar here, and the two of them talking at some length about things I have never heard Joe discuss before.
Like what?
Well, as I said, bookies are different from people, so it should have not surprised me that Joe and his wren were not discussing rose-covered cottages, as do most boys and girls when they reach the loony stage.
Yes.
From what I could gather as I passed by now and again, serving the other customers, Joe and his girl were discussing a cozy little rose-covered safe deposit box.
Mm-hmm. And you haven't seen either of them since last Friday, huh?
No, you're right with you.
Yeah.
Clover Leaf Buffet, Charlie talking. Huh? Yeah. What? You don't say. When? This morning, huh? Yeah, sure, I will. Thanks for calling. Goodbye. Hey, you wouldn't know a bookie who might be casting about for a phone, would you, pal?
What happened to Joe?
Body washed ashore on Baker's Beach this morning. That was the morgue.
I know what you mean, Sam. Marks, abrasions, contusions, indications of foul play.
That's right, Maxie. Did you see the police surgeon's report?
Yeah. Shot of dope and shoved into the briny.
Person or persons unknown.
Well, pretty hard to do by yourself, huh, Sam?
Yeah.
Oh, you wish to look on Joe Strum, I take it.
Yeah. This it?
Yeah, let's see. Yeah. Oh, no. This is the wrong one. This is Strudwick.
Wait a minute. Strudwick. Anthony P.
Are you known, Sam?
Yeah. 28 Genoa Place, Bayview 72118.
Nice-looking boy, they said. Friend of yours, huh?
No.
Huh? Well, then how did you...
Brand new league I'm in, Maxie. We call the shots ahead of time. Now, what about Strudwick?
Old artist. Lived on Telegraph Hill. Got drunk 3 nights ago. Walked out his studio window on the 4th floor. All alone at the time.
Well, if anyone offers you odds on that, grab it. See you later, Maxie.
Yeah, but ain't you going to look on Joe Strum?
No.
Well, it's up to you, Sam. So long, Strudwick.
Top man on the totem pole was James A. Struble, a barber who lived on 18th Avenue. I called, no one answered. So I made what by now had become the obvious deduction. I went to headquarters and checked the homicide reports, likewise the accident files and the traffic detail. Surprise! No James A. Struble. So I switched abruptly from the S's to the D's and called on dear, patient, understanding Lieutenant Dundee.
Who's going off half-cocked?
You! If you weren't such an idiot, you'd see what I'm talking about.
No, listen, Sam, I'm no green pea. I've been kicking around homicide for 30 years. Long enough to know you gotta have a motive to build up a case.
Yes.
How can you stand there and tell me a red-headed dame opens a phone book, draws a ring around 6 names, and then runs out quick and knocks them off?
I didn't say that.
Ah? And why do you want me to put out a general pickup on James A. Struble?
Because if he isn't dead right now, he will be.
Oh, the dame?
Dundee, no dame could strangle a 6-foot man like Strut with a piano wire. She's working with someone.
Sam, I love you, believe me, but try to see my side, will you? So I put out a general on Struble, and we pick him up, and he screams. And the chief hauls me in to ask why. And I tell him we put the pinch on Struble because his name is ticked off in somebody's phone book. Why... Huh? Hey, who are you?
Lieutenant, I want to see the lieutenant.
Hey, is he drunk?
Well, ask him.
Oh, yeah. What's your name?
Stuber. James A. Stuber. I want to report a murder.
Or who?
Me.